Welcome to VideoBooks YouTube channel. We are explaining book summaries to add value and save the valuable time of your precious life. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel for long book summaries with complete information from the book. The introduction of The Chase by Elle Kennedy opens with the signature blend of sharp wit, steamy tension, and emotional depth that fans of the Briar U series have come to expect. The book is the first in the spin-off series following the beloved off-campus characters, shifting the setting from the hockey rinks and dorm rooms of Briar University to the wider, more diverse world of the campus itself, while still maintaining the competitive, high-energy atmosphere that defines the franchise. The introduction immediately establishes the central pairing that will drive the narrative. Two people who could not be more different on the surface, but who share a hidden depth that neither expects. Summer Hayward, the female lead, is introduced as a young woman who seems to have it all: beauty, wealth, popularity, and an effortless grace that makes everything look easy. She is a college student with a passion for fashion design, a social media presence that borders on influencer status, and a reputation for being the kind of girl who gets what she wants. But beneath the glossy surface, Summer is struggling with something she has never admitted to anyone. She is lonely. The friends she has are superficial. The boys she dates are interchangeable. And the pressure to maintain her perfect image is exhausting. She has spent her life being seen as the pretty girl, the rich girl, the girl who has everything, and she is tired of it. She wants to be seen for who she really is, but she does not know how to let anyone in. The introduction then shifts to the male lead, Colin Fitzgerald, known to everyone as Fitz. He is a hockey player, a senior at Briar U, and the polar opposite of Summer in almost every way. Where Summer is polished and social, Fitz is rugged and introverted. Where Summer craves attention, Fitz avoids it. Where Summer comes from old money and social connections, Fitz comes from a working-class background and has earned everything he has through sheer determination and talent. He is the goalie for the Briar U hockey team, a position that requires him to be the last line of defense, to stand alone in the net while the chaos of the game swirls around him. This isolation suits him. He has built walls around himself, not out of cruelty, but out of self-preservation. He has been hurt before, by a family that did not understand him, by a girl who broke his heart, by the weight of expectations that he never asked to carry. He does not trust easily, and he does not let people in. The only things he is passionate about are hockey and his close-knit group of friends, the same friends who have appeared in previous books and who anchor him to something real. The introduction makes clear that the central tension of the chase will come from the collision of these two worlds. Summer and Fitz are thrown together by circumstance, living in the same apartment building, attending the same parties, moving in overlapping social circles. Their first interactions are antagonistic, full of sharp remarks and stubborn misunderstandings. Summer thinks Fitz is a brooding, judgmental grump who has already decided she is not worth his time. Fitz thinks Summer is a shallow, privileged princess who has never had to work for anything in her life. But the introduction hints that beneath these surface judgments lies a deeper attraction, one that neither of them is ready to acknowledge. Summer is drawn to Fitz's intensity, his quiet confidence, the way he looks at her as if he is trying to figure out a puzzle. Fitz is drawn to Summer's warmth, her resilience, the glimpses she accidentally reveals of the vulnerable girl behind the perfect facade. The chase, as the title suggests, is not just about one person pursuing the other. It is about two people chasing something they did not know they wanted, chasing the courage to be vulnerable, chasing the possibility of a love that might actually last. The introduction also sets up the secondary characters and the world of Briar U, a campus that is equal parts privilege and pressure, opportunity and expectation. Summer's friends, a group of wealthy, fashionable young women, serve as both a support system and a source of pressure, encouraging her to maintain her image even as she longs to break free from it. Fitz's teammates, including familiar faces from the off-campus series, provide humor, camaraderie, and the occasional push towards self-reflection. The introduction ends with a promise of the emotional journey to come, a story about two people who are both hiding from themselves, who both need to learn that being seen is not the same as being judged, and who both need to take a risk on something real. The chase is about to begin. The introduction closes with Summer and Fitz in the same room, avoiding each other's eyes, the air between them charged with something neither can name. The story of the chase is about to unfold, and neither of them is prepared for where it will lead. The summer is over, but the game is just beginning. The chase is on. Chapter 1 opens from Summer Hayward's perspective, placing the reader directly into the glittering, exhausting world she inhabits. She is at a crowded off-campus party, the kind of event where the beer flows freely and the music pounds through the walls, and she is surrounded by people who know her name, but not her. She wears a short silver dress that catches the light, her hair styled in loose waves, her makeup flawless, and she moves through the room with practiced ease, smiling at the right people, laughing at the right jokes, deflecting the wandering hands of drunk hockey players with polite firmness. On the surface, she is thriving. But inside, she is counting the minutes until she can leave. Her friend Brenna, a fellow student who shares Summer's love for fashion and her distaste for the superficiality of their social scene, pulls her aside and asks if she is okay. Summer says she is fine, the automatic response she has trained herself to give, and Brenna gives her a look that says she does not believe her, but will not push. The party continues around them, and Summer's eyes drift across the room, landing on a figure leaning against the wall near the back door. It is Colin Fitzgerald, and he is looking at her with an expression she cannot read. He is not part of her world, not the kind of guy who approaches her, and yet there he is, watching, waiting, as if he knows something about her that she has not yet admitted to herself. The chapter then shifts to a brief but telling exchange between Summer and Fitz. She makes her way toward him, not entirely sure why, the beer humming in her veins and the boredom pushing her forward. She asks why he is hiding in the corner, and he shrugs, saying that parties are not his thing. His voice is low, almost rough, and there is no attempt to impress her, no smile meant to charm. She asks what his thing is, and he says quietly, "Not this." The words hang between them, and Summer feels something shift, a crack in the performance she has been giving all night. She tells him that she is not sure what her thing is either, and the honesty surprises her. He looks at her for a long moment, longer than is comfortable, and then he nods, as if she has confirmed something he already suspected. A girl from his hockey team calls him over, and he leaves without saying goodbye, disappearing out the back door into the night. Summer stands there, alone in the corner, and she cannot stop thinking about the way he looked at her, not with the usual hunger or calculation, but with something closer to recognition. She shakes it off and returns to her friends, but the night feels different now, charged with something she cannot name. The chapter follows Summer through the rest of the party, but her mind is elsewhere, replaying the conversation, analyzing every word, every glance. She watches the door, half expecting him to return, but he does not. Her friends notice her distraction and tease her about being interested in the grumpy goalie, but she laughs it off, saying that Fitz is not her type. The lie tastes sour on her tongue, because the truth is that she does not know what her type is anymore. She has dated wealthy, charming, ambitious boys her whole life, the kind of boys her parents approve of. the kind who look good in photographs and say the right things at dinner parties. But none of them have ever looked at her the way Fitz looked at her, as if he could see past the dress and the makeup and the smile to something real. The party winds down, and Summer walks home alone, the autumn air cold on her bare arms, her heels clicking against the pavement. She thinks about texting the unknown number from earlier, the one that said you looked like you wanted to escape too, but she does not. She saves the number under the name Fitzgerald, and she tells herself it is just curiosity. It is not. The chapter closes with Summer alone in her apartment, the party over, the silver dress pooled on the floor, her face washed clean of makeup. She looks at herself in the mirror, at the girl who has everything and nothing, and she feels the familiar ache of loneliness that no amount of attention can cure. Her phone buzzes again. Another text from the same number, this one reading, "For the record, I think your thing could be anything you want it to be." She stares at the screen for a long time, her heart pounding, and then she types back a single word: "Thanks." She does not expect a response, but it comes within seconds, a simple smiley face that makes her laugh out loud. She climbs into bed, the name Fitzgerald glowing on her phone screen, and she knows that something has started, something she cannot control and does not fully understand. The chase has begun, though neither of them knows it yet. The first move has been made. The game is not on the ice. It is here, in the dark, between two people who are both pretending they do not care. The chapter ends there, with Summer falling asleep, the phone still in her hand, the first small crack in the armor she has built around her heart. The story of the chase is underway, and neither of them is prepared for where it will lead. Chapter 2 shifts to Colin Fitzgerald's perspective, offering the first deep look inside the mind of the brooding, private goalie. He is in his apartment the morning after the party, the autumn sunlight streaming through the windows of the small but comfortable space he shares with his teammate and friend, Dean. Fitz is not hungover because he barely drank, but he is tired, the kind of tired that comes from a restless night of thinking about a girl he has no business thinking about. Summer Hayward is not his type, or so he tells himself. She is too polished, too social, too surrounded by people who value appearances over substance. He has seen her around campus for months, watched her hold court at parties, and he has always assumed that she is exactly what she appears to be, a beautiful, privileged young woman who has never wanted for anything. But the conversation at the party, brief as it was, cracked that assumption. She admitted that she did not know what her thing was, and there was something in her voice, something raw and unguarded, that made him wonder if he had misjudged her. He does not like being wrong, but he likes even less the way she has been occupying his thoughts. Dean shuffles out of his bedroom, yawning, and asks why Fitz is staring at the wall. Fitz grunts a response and goes to make coffee, the conversation with Summer replaying in his head like a song he cannot stop humming. The chapter then follows Fitz through his morning routine, which is deliberately simple and focused. He's a man of habits, and his habits keep him grounded. He makes his bed, drinks his coffee black, checks his hockey schedule, and answers texts from his teammates about practice later that day. His phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number, and he opens it to find a photo of the sunrise over the campus, sent by Summer, with a caption that says, "Not sure if this is my thing either, but it is pretty." He stares at the photo for a long moment, surprised that she texted him, surprised that he is pleased. He types back a response, something casual about the view from his window being mostly parking lot, and she responds with a laughing emoji. The exchange is brief, almost trivial, but it feels significant. Dean notices him smiling at his phone and makes a crude joke about him finally getting laid. Fitz does not dignify it with a response, but he cannot deny that something is happening, a small, persistent pull toward a girl he barely knows. He finishes his coffee and heads to practice, the image of Summer's sunrise photo lingering in the back of his mind. The scene shifts to the hockey rink, where Fitz finds his usual refuge. The ice is cold, the air sharp, and the familiar sounds of skates cutting and pucks slamming against the boards drown out the noise of the outside world. He is in his element here, focused and controlled, and for a while he manages to forget about Summer. His teammates, including the ever-talkative Dean and the steady, reliable Logan, run drills and scrimmage, and Fitz does what he does best, stopping pucks, reading plays, being the last line of defense. After practice, his coach pulls him aside and tells him that he has been playing well, that scouts have been asking about him, that the NHL is a real possibility if he keeps his head in the game. Fitz nods and thanks him, but he does not feel the excitement he once would have. The NHL has always been the dream, the goal he has been working towards since he was a kid. But something has shifted. He's not sure what he wants anymore, and the uncertainty unsettles him. He showers and changes, and when he checks his phone, there is another text from Summer, a photo of a stray cat she saw on her walk to class, with a caption that says, "This cat looks like it has opinions." He laughs out loud, drawing curious looks from his teammates, and he types back, "All cats have opinions. That is why they are cats." The chapter closes with Fitz walking home from the rink, the sun setting over the campus, the air cool and crisp. He is still thinking about Summer, about the unexpected ease of their texts, about the way she seems to be showing him a side of herself that he had not seen before. He knows that he should be careful, that she is complicated, that getting involved with her could distract him from hockey, from his goals, from the carefully controlled life he has built. But there is a part of him, a part he has been ignoring for years, that is tired of being careful. He thinks about his past, about the girl who broke his heart, about the walls he built to protect himself, and he wonders if those walls are still serving him, or if they have become a prison. He reaches his apartment and climbs the stairs, his phone buzzing with one more text from Summer, a simple message that says, "I am glad you responded." He types back, "Me too," and he means it. The chapter ends with Fitz lying on his couch, the television on but not watching, his phone in his hand, the conversation with Summer still open on the screen. The first move was hers, but he has made one too, a small step towards something he does not fully understand. The chase is no longer one-sided. He is in it now, whether he admits it or not. The chapter ends there, with Fitz falling asleep to the glow of his phone, the walls around his heart beginning to show the first small cracks. The game is changing, and he is not sure he is ready for it. But ready or not, it has already begun. Chapter 3 returns to Summer's perspective, picking up in the days following the late-night texts and the unexpected connection that has been sparking between her and Fitz. She is in her favorite coffee shop on campus, a small, artsy place called the Daily Grind that serves overpriced lattes and displays local photography on the walls. She is supposed to be studying for an exam in her fashion merchandising class, but her textbook is open to the same page it has been for the past 20 minutes, and her mind is elsewhere. Specifically, her mind is on the series of texts that have been passing between her and Fitz since the party, a back and forth that started with a sunrise photo and has evolved into something she cannot quite define. They have not talked about anything serious, just observations about their days, funny things they have seen, the occasional teasing remark. But there is an intimacy to it that surprises her, a sense that she can say whatever comes to mind without worrying about being judged. She has never had that with anyone, not really. Her friends are lovely, but they exist in the same performative world she does, and her previous boyfriends were more interested in how she looked on their arm than in what she thought about anything. Fitz, by contrast, seems to want nothing from her except the conversation itself. She does not know what to do with that. The chapter then shifts to a scene at Summer's apartment, where she is getting ready for a party at the hockey house, the sprawling, chaotic residence where Fitz and his teammates live. She has been to the hockey house before, many times, but tonight feels different because she knows Fitz will be there, and she is nervous in a way she has not been in years. Her roommate, a quiet, studious girl named Harper, who is the polar opposite of Summer in almost every way, watches her try on 3 different outfits before finally asking what the occasion is. Summer deflects, saying it is just another party, but Harper gives her a knowing look and goes back to her book. Summer settles on a casual but flattering outfit, jeans and a soft sweater, minimal makeup, her hair loose. She is trying to look like she is not trying, which is its own kind of effort. She meets up with Brenna and a few other friends, and they walk to the hockey house together, the autumn air crisp and cool. Brenna teases her about Fitz, asking if something is going on between them, and Summer says no, because it is true. Nothing is going on. Nothing except a series of texts that make her smile when she should be sleeping, and a feeling in her chest that she cannot name. The scene shifts to the hockey house, which is already packed when they arrive. The music loud, the crowd a mix of athletes and students and hangers-on. Summer spots Fitz almost immediately, not because he is the center of attention, but because he is deliberately on its edges, leaning against a wall in the living room, a beer in his hand, his expression unreadable. He's wearing a simple flannel shirt and jeans, and he looks exactly like himself, not trying to impress anyone. Summer feels a pull toward him, a magnetic force that she does not bother resisting. She makes her way through the crowd, and when she reaches him, he looks at her with those quiet, assessing eyes, and he says, "You came." She says, "I said I would." They stand there for a moment, the noise of the party fading, and then he asks if she wants to go somewhere quieter. She says yes, and he leads her through the house, past the kitchen, past the stairs, to a small back porch that overlooks the yard. The air is cold, but there is a space heater glowing in the corner, and the noise from inside is muffled. They sit on an old couch, not touching, but close enough that she can feel the warmth of him. He asks how her day was, and she tells him about the exam she is avoiding, about the fashion show she is helping to organize, about the stray cat that hissed at her on the way to class. He listens, really listens, and when she finishes, he tells her about his practice, about a save he made that surprised even him, about the pressure he is feeling from scouts. They talk for an hour, maybe longer, and Summer loses track of time. She has never talked to anyone like this, with such ease, such honesty. She does not have to perform. She can just be. The chapter closes with the party winding down, the crowd thinning, the music softening. Summer and Fitz are still on the back porch, the space heater casting a warm glow, the stars bright overhead. She is sitting closer to him now, her shoulder brushing his, and she is acutely aware of every point of contact. He asks if she wants another drink, and she says no, that she should probably go home. He nods, but he does not move, and neither does she. Finally, he says her name, Summer, and the way he says it makes her heart skip. He tells her that he is glad she came, that he was not sure she would, that he has been thinking about their texts all week. She tells him that she has been thinking about them too. They are quiet again, and then he leans in, just slightly, and she leans in too, and they kiss. It is soft at first, tentative, and then it deepens, and Summer feels something she has never felt before, not with any of the polished, charming boys she has dated. This is real. This is not a performance. When they pull apart, Fitz rests his forehead against hers, and he says, "I did not expect that." She says, "Neither did I." The chapter ends with them sitting on the couch, the party over, the house quiet, the two of them tangled together in the dark. The chase has caught up to them, and neither of them is running. The chapter ends there, with the taste of him still on her lips, the promise of more hanging in the air. The game has changed. The real chase is just beginning. Chapter 4 opens from Fitz's perspective the morning after the kiss, and he is lying in his bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every detail of the night before. The hockey house is quiet, most of his teammates still asleep, and the pale autumn light filtering through the curtains feels almost accusatory, as if it is asking him what he thinks he is doing. He does not have an answer. He kissed Summer Hayward, the girl he told himself he was not interested in, the girl who is everything he usually avoids, polished and social and surrounded by admirers. But the kiss was not what he expected. It was not a performance or a game. It was soft and real, and it left him wanting more. He reaches for his phone on the nightstand and sees a text from her, sent at 2 a.m, a simple message that says, "I am glad you did not expect that." He smiles despite himself and types back, "Me too." He wants to say more, to tell her that he has not stopped thinking about her, that the kiss has been running on a loop in his head for hours, but he stops himself. He does not want to seem eager or desperate, or worse, vulnerable. He has learned the hard way that vulnerability is a weakness, something to be hidden behind walls of sarcasm and distance. He sets his phone aside and forces himself out of bed, the weight of the kiss still pressing on his chest. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the hockey rink, where Fitz is supposed to be focused on practice, but his mind keeps drifting back to Summer. His teammates notice that he is off, missing saves he would normally make, moving slower than usual. Dean pulls him aside during a water break and asks what is going on, and Fitz tells him nothing, the automatic response he has trained himself to give. Dean does not believe him, but he does not push. Instead, he claps Fitz on the shoulder and tells him to get his head in the game, that scouts are watching, that he cannot afford to be distracted. Fitz knows Dean is right, but knowing and doing are different things. He finishes practice in a fog and heads to the locker room, where he finds a text from Summer waiting for him. A photo of a fashion sketch she is working on, a flowing dress in shades of blue and green. She asks what he thinks, and he tells her the truth, that it is beautiful, that she is talented, that he did not know she could draw. She responds with a blushing emoji and says that there is a lot he does not know about her. He wants to know it all, and the realization unsettles him. The scene shifts to Summer's apartment, where she is working on the same fashion sketch, the dress taking shape on the page in shades of watercolor. She is supposed to be preparing for an upcoming critique in her design class, but her mind is on Fitz, on the kiss, on the texts that have been passing between them all day. Her roommate Harper is at the library, and the apartment is quiet, which gives her too much time to think. She has never been in a situation like this before, never been interested in someone who does not fit neatly into the box of what her life is supposed to look like. Fitz is not wealthy or charming in the conventional sense. He does not court her with flowers and expensive dinners. He texts her photos of sunrises and asks about her day, and somehow that is more disarming than any grand gesture. She thinks about her parents, about the pressure they put on her to succeed, to marry well, to maintain the family's social standing. They would not approve of Fitz, a hockey player from a working-class background who has no interest in networking or climbing the social ladder. But for the first time in her life, Summer is not sure she cares about their approval. She wants something for herself, something real, and she is terrified and exhilarated in equal measure. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer meeting at a small diner off campus, a neutral ground away from the pressure of parties and teammates and social expectations. The diner is nearly empty, the booths worn, the coffee strong. They sit across from each other, and the conversation is easier than it has any right to be, flowing from topic to topic without the awkward pauses that usually plague early dates. Fitz tells her about his family, about the pressure to succeed, about the scholarship that brought him to Briar U. Summer tells him about her parents, about the loneliness of growing up in a house where appearances were everything and feelings were nothing. They do not solve anything, but they share something, a piece of themselves that they have not given to anyone else. When the check comes, Fitz pays, and Summer does not argue. They walk out into the cold night, and he takes her hand, his fingers warm around hers. He walks her to her door, and they stand there for a moment, the porch light casting a soft glow. He kisses her again, slower this time, and when he pulls back, he says that he wants to see her again, that he wants to see where this goes. Summer says that she wants that too. The chapter ends with Fitz walking away, his hands in his pockets, the collar of his jacket turned up against the wind. The chase is no longer a game of cat and mouse. It is a dance, and they are learning the steps. The chapter ends there, with both of them smiling, with the promise of more to come, with the walls beginning to crumble. The story of the chase continues, and neither of them is prepared for how fast they are falling. But they are falling, and that is the only thing that matters. The chapter ends there. Chapter 5 opens from Summer's perspective a few days after the diner date, and she is sitting in her fashion design class, a pencil in her hand, a sketch pad in front of her, but her mind is anywhere but on the assignment. The professor is lecturing about color theory, something about complementary palettes and seasonal trends, and Summer is nodding along while mentally replaying every moment she has spent with Fitz. The texts have continued, a steady stream of observations and jokes and small confessions, and the kiss at her door has been living in her head rent-free. She is not used to this, not used to being the one who is pursuing, not used to feeling uncertain about where she stands. With other boys, it was simple. They wanted her. She let them. And when they proved to be boring or selfish or both, she moved on. But Fitz is different. He does not chase her in the way she expects. He is not constantly texting or showing up where she is, or showering her with attention. He is steady and consistent, present without being overwhelming, and she finds herself wanting more. The girl next to her, a friendly, aspiring designer named Jenna, nudges her and asks if she is okay. Summer says she is fine, just tired, and Jenna gives her a knowing look, but does not push. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the campus coffee shop, where Summer is supposed to be studying with Brenna, but is instead scrolling through her phone, waiting for a text from Fitz that has not come yet. Brenna notices her distraction and calls her out, asking what is going on with her and the grumpy goalie. Summer tries to deflect, but Brenna is persistent, and eventually Summer admits that she likes him, that she does not know what it means, that she is scared of messing it up. Brenna laughs and says that Summer has never been scared of anything, and Summer realizes that is not true. She has been scared her whole life, scared of disappointing her parents, scared of being seen as anything less than perfect, scared of wanting something that might not want her back. She just got very good at hiding it. Brenna tells her to stop overthinking and to enjoy whatever it is, that not every relationship has to have a label or a 5-year plan. Summer knows she is right, but letting go of control is easier said than done. The scene shifts to the hockey rink, where Fitz is in the middle of a brutal practice, his body aching, his mind focused on the puck. His coach has been pushing them hard, preparing for an important game against a rival school, and Fitz is grateful for the distraction. The physical exhaustion helps quiet the noise in his head, the thoughts of Summer that have been creeping in at odd moments. Dean, skating past him, mutters something about him being lovesick, and Fitz ignores him. But later, in the locker room, he finds himself checking his phone, hoping for a message from her. There is one, a photo of a ridiculous coffee cup with a misspelled name, and he laughs out loud, drawing curious looks from his teammates. He types back a response and then forces himself to put the phone away, to focus on the game, to remember that hockey is his priority. But the image of her smile lingers, and he knows that she is becoming something more than a distraction. She is becoming a reason. The chapter follows Summer to a party at a friend's apartment, a low-key gathering that is supposed to be a study break, but has turned into something louder and more chaotic. She is standing in the kitchen, a drink in her hand, when her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz. He asks what she is doing, and she tells him, adding that she wishes he were there. He responds that he is not really a party person, and she knows that, but she wants him there anyway. A guy she has met before, a handsome business major named Kyle, who has been trying to get her attention for weeks, approaches her and asks if she wants to dance. Summer hesitates, thinking about Fitz, about the kiss at her door, about the texts that have become a lifeline. But Fitz is not here, and Kyle is, and she is tired of waiting for something that might not happen. She says yes, and they dance, the music loud, the lights low. Kyle pulls her close, and she lets him, trying to feel something, trying to feel anything. But all she can think about is Fitz, and the guilt settles in her stomach like a stone. The chapter closes with Summer leaving the party early, walking home alone in the cold night air, her phone in her hand. She texts Fitz, a simple message that says, "I left." He responds immediately asking if she is okay. She says she is fine, that she just did not want to be there anymore. He asks if she wants company, and she says yes, even though it is late, even though she knows she should not. He arrives at her apartment within 20 minutes, his hair tousled, his cheeks flushed from the cold. They sit on her couch, not touching, the space between them charged. She tells him about the party, about dancing with Kyle, about the guilt that followed. He listens, and he does not get angry. He says that she is allowed to dance with whoever she wants, that they are not exclusive, that he has no claim on her. But his voice is tight, and she knows he is hurt. She reaches for his hand, and he lets her take it. They sit in silence, the weight of what is not said pressing down on them. The chapter ends with Fitz leaving, a quick kiss on her forehead, a promise to text tomorrow. Summer watches him go, the door closing behind him, and she wonders if she is already losing something she never really had. The chapter ends there, with the taste of regret on her tongue, with the uncertainty of what comes next. The chase is not a straight line. It is full of twists and turns, and neither of them knows where it will lead. The story continues, the stakes higher than ever, the feelings deeper than either of them expected. The chapter ends there. Chapter 6 opens from Fitz's perspective the morning after the tense, unresolved visit to Summer's apartment. He is lying in his bed, the sunlight too bright, his head pounding from lack of sleep and the weight of the previous night. He has been replaying the conversation, the way Summer told him about dancing with another guy, the way she looked at him as if she were waiting for him to react, to get angry, to claim her. He did neither. He told her she was allowed to do whatever she wanted, because it was true, but the words felt like ash in his mouth. He does not have a claim on her. They have been on 2 dates, exchanged a few dozen texts, shared a handful of kisses. That does not make her his. But the thought of her in another guy's arms, of someone else's hands on her waist, makes his chest tighten in a way he does not want to examine. Dean bangs on his door, yelling that practice starts in an hour, and Fitz drags himself out of bed, the fog of confusion clinging to him. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the hockey rink, where Fitz is trying to lose himself in the familiar rhythm of practice. The ice is cold, the puck is fast, and the drills demand his full attention. But his mind keeps drifting back to Summer, to the guilt in her eyes, to the way she reached for his hand. He misses a save, then another, and his coach pulls him aside, asking what is wrong. Fitz says nothing, the automatic response, but his coach is not Dean. He is an older man who has seen generations of players come and go, who can spot a distracted player from across the ice. He tells Fitz to get his head straight, that the scouts are watching, that he cannot afford to let a girl ruin his chances. The words land hard, because Fitz has been telling himself the same thing. But he is not sure he believes it anymore. What if she is not ruining his chances? What if she is something worth risking them for? He finishes practice in a daze and heads to the locker room, where he finds a text from Summer waiting for him. It is a simple apology, no explanations, no excuses, just, "I am sorry about last night." He stares at the screen for a long moment, then types back, "Me too." The scene shifts to Summer's apartment, where she is pacing the living room, her phone in her hand, waiting for a response that has not come yet. She sent the apology an hour ago, and the silence is deafening. Her roommate Harper is at the kitchen table pretending to study, but Summer can feel her watching. She wants to explain, to tell someone about the knot in her chest, about the fear that she has already messed up something that was just beginning. But she does not have the words. She has spent her whole life being the girl who has everything under control, and admitting that she is scared feels like failure. Her phone buzzes, and she nearly drops it in her rush to read the message. "Me too." 2 words, and she feels a flood of relief so intense that her knees go weak. She types back, "Can we talk?" He says yes, and they agree to meet at the diner, the same one where they had their first real conversation. She changes her clothes 3 times, settles on jeans and a soft sweater, and heads out the door, her heart pounding. The chapter follows Fitz and Summer at the diner, the same booth, the same strong coffee. But the atmosphere is different, charged with the unresolved tension of the previous night. They sit in silence for a moment, neither of them sure how to start. Finally, Summer speaks. She tells him that she is not used to this, not used to caring about someone's opinion, not used to feeling guilty for dancing with someone else. She tells him that she likes him, more than she expected, more than she knows how to handle. Fitz listens, and then he tells her that he likes her too, that he has been trying not to, that he has been telling himself to focus on hockey, but he cannot stop thinking about her. He tells her that he is not good at this, at sharing his feelings, at being vulnerable. But he wants to try. Summer reaches across the table and takes his hand, and he does not pull away. They stay like that, the coffee growing cold, the afternoon light fading, and they talk. Not about the party or the dancing or the guilt, about what they want, about whether they are willing to take a risk, about the possibility of something real. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer walking through the campus, the stars bright overhead, the air cold and crisp. He walks her to her door, the same door where they kissed before, and they stand there for a moment, the porch light casting a soft glow. He asks if she is free this weekend, and she says yes. He asks if she wants to go on a real date, not just coffee or a party, but something planned, something intentional. Summer says yes, and she is smiling, and he is smiling, and the awkwardness of the previous night feels like a distant memory. He kisses her, soft and slow, and when he pulls back, he tells her that he is not going to dance with anyone else. She laughs and says that she is not going to dance with anyone else either. They say goodnight, and she watches him walk away, his hands in his pockets, his collar turned up against the wind. The chapter ends with Summer closing the door, leaning against it, her heart full. The chase is not over, but it is changing. They are not running anymore. They are walking together, side by side, towards something neither of them can name, but both of them want. The chapter ends there, with the promise of a real date, with the hope of a future, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there. Chapter 7 opens from Summer's perspective on the morning of her first real date with Fitz, and she is standing in front of her closet, surrounded by rejected outfits, her nerves coiled tight in her stomach. She has been on dozens of dates before, with handsome boys from good families, and she has never once felt this level of anxiety. But those dates were performances, opportunities to be seen, to be admired, to maintain her image. This date with Fitz feels different because she does not know what he expects. He is not the kind of guy who will be impressed by a designer dress or a practiced smile. He will see her, really see her, and that is terrifying. Her roommate Harper watches from her bed, amused, and offers commentary on each rejected option. Too fancy, too casual, too trying too hard. Finally, Summer settles on a simple outfit, jeans and a soft sweater, her hair loose, minimal makeup. She looks like herself, or at least the version of herself she wants to show him. Her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz, saying he is outside. She takes a breath, grabs her jacket, and heads out the door. The chapter then shifts to Fitz, who is waiting for her in his car, a beat-up sedan that has seen better days. He is not nervous, or so he tells himself. He has been on dates before, though not many, and not recently. But there is something about Summer that makes him want to get it right, to show her that he is more than a grumpy goalie who hides in corners at parties. He has planned the day carefully. A hike to a nearby waterfall, followed by lunch at a small cafe that is not fancy, but has the best sandwiches in town. It is not the kind of date Summer is used to, he knows that. She is accustomed to expensive restaurants and VIP treatment. But he wants to show her his world, the one that matters to him, the one that does not involve social climbing or performing for an audience. When she climbs into the car, she looks exactly like herself, no armor, no performance, and he feels something loosen in his chest. He leans over and kisses her cheek, then pulls out of the parking lot, the autumn leaves swirling behind them. The scene shifts to the hike, a winding trail through the woods that leads to a clearing where a small waterfall spills into a crystal pool. The air is crisp, the sun is warm, and the only sounds are the crunch of leaves underfoot and the distant rush of water. Summer is surprised by how much she enjoys it. The physical exertion, the quiet, the absence of pressure to be anyone other than who she is. Fitz walks beside her, pointing out landmarks, telling her about the first time he found this trail, about the ways he escapes when the noise of campus becomes too much. She listens, and she realizes that she is seeing a side of him that few people get to see. The side that is not guarded or sarcastic, but open and thoughtful and kind. When they reach the waterfall, he spreads a blanket on a flat rock, and they sit together, the mist cool on their faces. He asks if she is glad she came, and she says yes, that she is glad, that she did not know what to expect, but that this is better than anything she could have imagined. He smiles. A real smile, not the guarded one he wears in public, and her heart skips. The chapter follows them to the cafe, a small, family-owned place with red checkered tablecloths and a jukebox in the corner. They order sandwiches and milkshakes, and the conversation flows easily, the way it always does when they are alone. She tells him about her passion for fashion design, about the sketches she hides from her parents, about the fear that she is not talented enough to make it. He tells her about the pressure to succeed in hockey, about the scouts who watch his every move, about the fear that he is not good enough to go pro. They share their fears, and somehow, sharing makes them smaller. He asks if she wants dessert, and she says yes, and they split a piece of pie, their forks tangling. When the check comes, he pays again, and she does not argue. She is learning that letting him take care of her is not a weakness. It is a gift she can accept. The chapter closes with Fitz driving Summer home, the sun setting behind them, the car filled with the easy silence of two people who are comfortable together. He parks outside her apartment and turns to look at her, his expression serious. He tells her that he had a good time, that he wants to do it again, that he is not sure what this is, but he does not want it to stop. Summer tells him that she feels the same way, that she has never met anyone like him, that she is scared, but she is willing. He kisses her, soft and slow, and she melts into him. When they pull apart, he asks if she wants to come to his next game, to see him play, to be part of that part of his life. She says yes, and she means it. She climbs out of the car and walks to her door, turning back to wave at him. He waves back, and then he drives away, his tail lights disappearing around the corner. The chapter ends with Summer leaning against her door, her heart full, a smile on her face that she cannot wipe off. The chase is becoming something more. It is becoming a partnership, a shared journey into the unknown. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there with the promise of more hikes and more pies, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The summer is over, but the fall is just beginning, and it is beautiful. The chapter ends there. Chapter 8 opens from Fitz's perspective 3 days after the hike, and he is in the locker room before the biggest game of the season, his pads on, his mask in his hands, his mind anywhere but on the ice. The game against their rival school, a team that has beaten them twice in the past year, is hours away, and he should be focused, visualizing saves, reviewing the opposing team's top scorers. Instead, he is thinking about Summer, about the way she looked at the waterfall, about the way she laughed at the cafe, about the way she said yes to coming to the game. She will be in the stands tonight, watching him, and the thought makes him nervous in a way that no opposing forward ever has. Dean, in the stall next to him, notices his distraction and asks if he is okay. Fitz says he is fine, the automatic response, but Dean knows him too well to believe it. He tells Fitz to stop overthinking, to play his game, to remember that he is the best goalie in the conference when he keeps his head straight. Fitz nods, but the knot in his chest does not loosen. He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the roar of the crowd filling his ears. The chapter then shifts to Summer in the stands, sitting between Brenna and a few other friends, her heart pounding in a way that has nothing to do with the cold arena air. She has been to hockey games before, but she has never watched with this level of investment, never cared about the outcome beyond the social excuse to dress up and be seen. Tonight, she is watching for Fitz, tracking his movements, holding her breath every time the puck comes near the net. He's larger than life on the ice, his body a wall of pads and focus, and she feels a surge of pride that she does not fully understand. Brenna nudges her and whispers something about her being smitten, and Summer does not deny it. The game is intense, back and forth. The crowd on its feet for most of the third period. Fitz makes save after save, his movements fluid and precise. And when the final buzzer sounds with Briar U ahead by 1 goal, the arena erupts. Summer is cheering, screaming, hugging Brenna, and she is not pretending. The joy is real. The scene shifts to after the game, where Summer waits for Fitz outside the locker room, surrounded by other girlfriends and fans, hoping for a glimpse of the players. She feels out of place, unsure of the protocol, unsure of whether she belongs here. But when Fitz emerges, his hair damp, his gear bag slung over his shoulder, his eyes find hers immediately. He walks past the other people, past the fans calling his name, and he stops in front of her. He asks if she saw the save in the second period, the one where he stretched across the crease to stop a sure goal, and she says she did, that it was incredible. He smiles, a tired, genuine smile, and he tells her that he made it for her. She laughs, not sure if he is joking, but she does not care. He takes her hand, and they walk out of the arena together, the cold air sharp on their faces. He asks if she wants to come to the team party, and she says yes, because she wants to be with him, even in the chaos of a crowded room. The chapter follows them to the hockey house, which is already packed with teammates, friends, and hangers-on celebrating the win. The music is loud, the beer is flowing, and Summer is pulled into the current of it, laughing, dancing, accepting congratulations from people she barely knows. Fitz stays close to her, his hand on her lower back, his presence a steady anchor in the noise. She catches him looking at her more than once, not with the guarded expression she is used to, but with something softer, something like wonder. She leans into him and whispers that she is proud of him, and he pulls her closer, his lips brushing her ear. He says that having her here makes everything better, that he did not know he was missing something until she showed up. Her heart swells, and she kisses him, right there in the middle of the party, not caring who sees. The room fades away, and it is just the two of them, the taste of victory on his lips. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz on the back porch of the hockey house, the same porch where they had their first real conversation, the noise from inside muffled, the stars bright overhead. They are sitting on the old couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her, and they are watching the night sky. He asks if she is glad she came, and she says yes, that she is glad, that she has never been to a game like that she has never felt so connected to someone. He tells her that he is falling for her, that he tried not to, that he told himself to focus on hockey, but he cannot help it. She tells him that she is falling too, that she is scared, that she does not know what comes next. He kisses her forehead and says that they will figure it out together. The chapter ends with them sitting in silence, the party winding down inside, the world reduced to the space between them. The chase is no longer a chase. It is a surrender, a giving in to something that neither of them can control. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the taste of victory on their tongues, with the promise of more games and more parties, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 9 opens from Summer's perspective a few days after the game, and she is in her fashion design studio, a bright, airy space filled with mannequins, bolts of fabric, and the quiet hum of sewing machines. She is supposed to be working on her final project, a 3-piece collection that will be judged by a panel of industry professionals, but her mind is elsewhere. Specifically, her mind is on Fitz. on the way he said he was falling for her, on the way he looked at her on the back porch. She has been distracted all week, her sketches half finished, her stitches uneven, and her professor, a sharp-eyed woman named Dr. Chen, who has little patience for excuses, has noticed. She pulls Summer aside after class and asks if everything is okay, if there is something going on that she should know about. Summer wants to deflect, to say that she is fine, but the words will not come. Instead, she tells Dr. Chen the truth, that she is distracted, that she is falling for someone, that she is struggling to focus. Dr. Chen's expression softens, and she tells Summer that inspiration comes from feeling, that the best designs are born from emotion, that she should lean into whatever she is feeling, not hide from it. Summer thanks her and returns to her workspace, the advice settling into her chest. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the campus coffee shop, where Summer is meeting Fitz between classes. He is already there when she arrives, a book open in front of him, a coffee growing cold at his elbow. He looks up when she walks in, and his face lights up in a way that makes her heart skip. She orders a latte and slides into the seat across from him, and they talk about their days, the way they always do. He tells her about a brutal practice, about a new drill his coach is making them run, about the pressure of maintaining their winning streak. She tells him about Dr. Chen, about the final project, about the fear that she is not talented enough to succeed. He listens, and then he tells her that she is the most talented person he knows, that her sketches are incredible, that she has nothing to worry about. She wants to believe him, but the voice of self-doubt is loud. He reaches across the table and takes her hand, his fingers warm around hers, and the doubt quiets, just a little. The scene shifts to Fitz's apartment, where Summer has come to study, though studying is the last thing on her mind. Dean is out, and the apartment is quiet, the afternoon light filtering through the windows. They sit on the couch, her textbook open on her lap, his laptop on his, but neither of them is making progress. She catches him looking at her and she asks what he is thinking. He says that he is thinking about how he got here, how he went from being a guy who avoided attachments to a guy who cannot stop thinking about a girl. She tells him that she knows the feeling, that she used to be the girl who had everything under control, and now she feels like she is free falling. He pulls her closer, and she closes her textbook, and they spend the afternoon not studying, tangled together on the couch, the world outside, forgotten. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz to a small Italian restaurant off campus, a place that is not fancy but has the best pasta in town. He has been wanting to take her here for weeks, and tonight he finally has the chance. They order wine and bread and talk about everything and nothing. She asks about his family, about his childhood, about the things that made him who he is. He is quiet for a moment, and then he tells her about his father, a hard-working man who never made it to the NHL, but who taught Fitz everything he knows about hockey. He tells her about his mother, who died when he was 16, about the grief that still hits him at odd moments, about the way he threw himself into hockey to escape the pain. Summer listens, her heart aching for him, and she reaches across the table and takes his hand. She tells him about her own family, about the pressure to be perfect, about the loneliness of growing up in a house where feelings were not allowed. They share their wounds, and somehow, sharing makes them lighter. The chapter closes with Fitz walking Summer home, the night cold and clear, the stars bright overhead. They stop at her door, the same door where they have said goodnight so many times, and he kisses her, soft and slow. When he pulls back, he asks if she wants to come to another game, the next one, the one that could determine their playoff fate. She says yes, that she would not miss it. He smiles, and she watches him walk away, his hands in his pockets, his collar turned up against the wind. The chapter ends with Summer leaning against her door, her heart full, a smile on her face that she cannot wipe off. The chase is becoming something deeper, something that is not just about attraction or chemistry, but about trust and vulnerability and the willingness to be seen. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more dinners and more games, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 10 opens from Fitz's perspective on the morning of the playoff game, and he is sitting in his car in the parking lot of the arena, the engine off, the silence pressing in around him. He arrived early, needing time alone before the chaos of warm-ups and locker room energy, needing to center himself. But his mind will not cooperate. It keeps drifting to Summer, to the way she looked at him over pasta, to the way she held his hand when he told her about his mother. She will be in the stands again tonight, wearing his jersey, and the thought fills him with a warmth that has nothing to do with the heater he is not using. He's falling for her, deeper than he intended, and he is not sure he knows how to stop. His phone buzzes with a text from her, a photo of her wearing his jersey, a caption that says, "Lucky charm, reporting for duty." He smiles and types back, "I will take all the luck I can get." He climbs out of the car and walks into the arena, the familiar smell of ice and sweat and anticipation wrapping around him like a second skin. The chapter then shifts to the locker room, where Fitz is surrounded by his teammates, the energy electric, the stakes high. Dean is in the stall next to him, taping his stick, muttering about the opposing team's star forward. Logan is across the room, quiet and focused, the way he always is before a big game. The coach gives a speech, something about heart and grit and leaving everything on the ice, and Fitz feels the familiar surge of adrenaline. But underneath it, there is a new feeling, a sense that he is playing for more than just himself, for more than the scouts in the stands. He is playing for her. He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the roar of the crowd washing over him. He finds her in the stands, in the third row, his jersey bright against the sea of school colours, and he lets the energy of the moment carry him. The scene shifts to the game, a brutal, back-and-forth battle that leaves both teams exhausted and the crowd on edge. Fitz is sharp, his movements fluid, his focus absolute. He stops breakaways, deflects shots, covers rebounds. The game is tied late in the third period when the opposing team pulls their goalie for an extra attacker. The pressure is immense, the noise deafening, and Fitz finds himself in a one-on-one with their top scorer, a player who has beaten him twice before. The forward dekes left, shoots right, and Fitz stretches across the crease, his glove snatching the puck out of the air. The buzzer sounds, the game is over, and Briar U has won. His teammates mob him, helmets flying, sticks clattering, and Fitz is laughing, shouting, lost in the chaos. When he looks up, he finds Summer in the stands, standing and cheering, her face flushed with joy. He raises his glove to her, and she waves back, and the moment is perfect. The chapter follows the team celebration, a raucous affair in the locker room that spills out into the hallway and eventually to the parking lot. Fitz is surrounded by teammates, by fans, by people he does not know who want to shake his hand and congratulate him. He is polite, but his eyes keep searching for her. When he finally spots her, standing near the exit, her coat zipped against the cold, he excuses himself and walks toward her. She tells him that he was incredible, that she has never seen anything like that, save that she is proud of him. He pulls her into his arms, not caring who is watching, and holds her tightly. She smells like vanilla and cold air, and he wants to stay in this moment forever. He asks if she wants to come to the after party, and she says yes, but first she wants a minute alone with him. He leads her to his car, and they sit in the back seat, the doors closed against the noise, the windows fogging in the cold. He kisses her, and she kisses him back, and the celebration outside fades away. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer at the after party, a crowded house off campus where the music is loud and the beer is cheap. They stay close to each other, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder, the noise and the chaos swirling around them. His teammates tease him about being whipped, and he does not deny it. Dean makes a joke about him finally getting laid, and Summer laughs, and Fitz feels a warmth spread through his chest. He is happy, truly happy, in a way he has not been in years. He looks at her, at the girl who came out of nowhere and turned his world upside down, and he knows that he is not just falling for her. He has already fallen. The chapter ends with them leaving the party early, walking hand in hand through the cold night, the stars bright overhead. He walks her to her door, and she asks if he wants to come in. He says yes, and she leads him inside, her hand in his. The chapter ends there, with the door closing behind them, the night still young, the future unwritten. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more games and more nights, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 11 opens from Summer's perspective the morning after Fitz stayed over, and she is lying in her bed, the sunlight streaming through curtains, the warmth of his body still lingering beside her. He left an hour ago, slipping out quietly so her roommate Harper would not wake, but the indentation of his head is still on the pillow, and the smell of him, clean soap, and something uniquely Fitz, is on her sheets. She stretches, a lazy, satisfied smile on her face, and replays the night before, the way he kissed her, the way he held her, the way he looked at her as if she was something precious. She has never felt this way before, never been this vulnerable with anyone, and it terrifies and exhilarates her in equal measure. Her phone buzzes with a text from him, a simple message that says, "Last night was perfect." She types back, "It really was," and hugs the phone to her chest. She knows she should get up, should shower, should start working on her fashion project, but she wants to hold on to this feeling for a little longer. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the campus coffee shop, where Summer is meeting Brenna for what Brenna has called an emergency debriefing. Brenna is already at a table when Summer arrives, her eyes bright with curiosity, her coffee ignored in front of her. She demands every detail, and Summer gives them, not all of them, but enough to satisfy. Brenna listens, her expression shifting from surprise to delight, to something softer, something like genuine happiness for her friend. She tells Summer that she has never seen her like this, so open, so unguarded, so obviously in love. Summer starts to deny it, to deflect, but the word hangs in the air between them. Love. She has not said it to Fitz, has not even admitted it to herself, but Brenna is right. She is falling in love with him, and the realization is both terrifying and liberating. Brenna tells her to stop overthinking and to enjoy it, that love is not a weakness, that it is okay to let someone in. Summer nods, but the knot in her chest does not loosen. The scene shifts to Fitz's apartment, where he is lying on his couch, staring at the ceiling, the television on, but not watching. Dean is at the kitchen table, eating cereal, occasionally glancing over at him with a knowing smirk. Fitz has been quiet all morning, replaying the night before, the way Summer felt in his arms, the way she looked at him with those wide, honest eyes. He has never been this close to anyone, not since his mother died, not since he learned that letting people in meant risking getting hurt. But with Summer, the risk feels worth it. Dean interrupts his thoughts, asking if he's going to see her again today, and Fitz says yes, that they are having dinner tonight. Dean tells him that he is happy for him, that Summer seems good for him, that he has been less of a grumpy asshole lately. Fitz laughs, the first real laugh of the day, and throws a pillow at Dean's head. He checks his phone and finds a text from Summer, a photo of a fashion sketch, a flowing dress in shades of gold and amber. She asks what he thinks, and he tells her that it is beautiful, that she is beautiful, that he cannot wait to see her tonight. She responds with a heart emoji, and he feels a warmth spread through his chest. The chapter follows Summer to her fashion design studio, where she is finally able to focus. The conversation with Brenner and the texts from Fitz giving her a new energy. She works on her collection, the sketches coming together in a way they have not in weeks, the fabrics chosen, the patterns drafted. Dr. Chen stops by her workspace and looks at her progress, and for the first time, she offers a genuine compliment, telling Summer that she can see the emotion in her work, that the pieces have a depth they were missing before. Summer thanks her, and she knows that the emotion Dr. Chen sees is Fitz, is the love that is blooming inside her, is the vulnerability she has finally allowed herself to feel. She works until the light fades, and then she packs up her things and heads to meet him for dinner. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz at the same Italian restaurant, the same booth, the same wine, but everything feels different now, more intimate, more real. They talk about the night before, about the game, about the future. He tells her that he is scared, that he has never felt this way, that he does not want to mess it up. She tells him that she is scared too, that she has spent her whole life pretending not to be, that she is tired of pretending. He reaches across the table and takes her hand, and they sit in silence, the noise of the restaurant fading away. He asks if she wants to be his girlfriend, officially, not just the girl he is seeing, but his. She says yes, and she is smiling, and he is smiling, and the word girlfriend feels like a promise. The chapter ends with them walking home, hand in hand, the stars bright overhead. The chase is over, but the relationship is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more dinners and more nights, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 12 opens from Fitz's perspective a week after he and Summer made their relationship official, and he is in the locker room before practice, his gear on, his mind anywhere but on the ice. The word girlfriend is still settling into his vocabulary, unfamiliar, but not unwelcome. He has never had one before, not seriously, not someone he actually wanted to introduce to his teammates, to bring to team dinners, to keep in his bed past sunrise. Summer is all of those things, and more, and the weight of it is both exhilarating and terrifying. Dean, as usual, is in the stall next to him, and he is humming an annoying pop song that Fitz cannot get out of his head. Fitz tells him to shut up, and Dean grins, knowing exactly why he is irritable. It is not the music. It is the fear of messing something up, of being the person who ruins the best thing that has ever happened to him. He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the cold air sharp in his lungs, the familiar rhythm of practice beginning to quiet the noise in his head. The chapter then shifts to Summer's perspective as she walks across campus to meet Fitz after his practice. The autumn leaves are falling, the air is crisp, and she is wearing his jersey under her coat, a small, private tribute that makes her smile every time she thinks about it. She has been thinking about him constantly, about the way he said girlfriend, about the way he looked at her when she said yes. She is not used to being this happy, this unguarded, and it scares her more than she wants to admit. Her phone buzzes with a text from her mother, a reminder about an upcoming family event, a subtle probe about whether she is dating anyone serious. Summer types back a vague response, not ready to share Fitz with her parents, not ready for their judgment, their questions, their inevitable disapproval. She shoves the phone back in her pocket and picks up her pace, the cold wind stinging her cheeks. The scene shifts to Fitz and Summer at a small park near campus, sitting on a bench, sharing a bag of warm chestnuts from a street vendor. He has just finished practice, and she has just finished a critique in her design class that went better than expected. They talk about their days, the way they always do, and the conversation is easy, familiar, comfortable. She tells him about her mother's text, about the family event, about the fear of introducing him to her world. He listens, and then he tells her that he is not afraid of her parents, that he is not afraid of anyone, that he will be whatever she needs him to be. She leans her head on his shoulder, and he wraps his arm around her, and they sit in silence, the leaves falling around them. She asks if he is nervous about the next game, a crucial matchup against another top-ranked team, and he says that he is, that the pressure is building, that he is trying not to think about it. She tells him that he is the best goalie she has ever seen, that he has nothing to worry about, that she will be in the stands cheering for him. He kisses her forehead and tells her that having her there makes everything easier. The chapter follows them to Fitz's apartment, where they are supposed to be studying, but are instead lying on his bed, tangled together, the afternoon light fading. He is tracing patterns on her back, and she is listening to his heartbeat, steady and strong. She asks if he has ever been in love before, and he is quiet for a long moment. He tells her that he thought he was, once, with a girl in high school, but it was not real, not like this. He tells her that he did not know what love was until he met her. She feels tears prick at her eyes, and she buries her face in his chest, hiding from the intensity of the moment. He asks if she is okay, and she says that she is just overwhelmed, that she has never felt this way either. They lie there in silence, the world outside forgotten, and the word love hovers in the air between them, unspoken, but present. The chapter closes with Fitz walking Summer home, the night cold and clear, the stars bright overhead. They stop at her door, the same door where they have said goodnight so many times, and he kisses her, soft and slow. When he pulls back, he tells her that he loves her. The words hang in the air, and Summer feels her heart stop, then start again, racing. She tells him that she loves him too, and he smiles, a real smile, the kind that reaches his eyes. They stand there for a moment, the porch light casting a soft glow, the world reduced to the space between them. Then she pulls him inside, and the door closes behind them. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more nights and more mornings, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is no longer unspoken. The chase is a distant memory, replaced by something deeper, something real. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there with the taste of love on their tongues, with the fall deepening around them, with the certainty that they are exactly where they are supposed to be. The chapter ends there. Chapter 13 opens from Summer's perspective the morning after Fitz said I love you, and she is in her apartment, standing in front of her closet, unable to focus on anything except the memory of his voice saying those 3 words. She has said it back, has meant it, but the weight of it is still settling over her. A warm blanket that also feels slightly suffocating. She is not used to this, not used to being loved, not used to loving someone back. Her relationships in the past were transactional, performances, exchanges of attention and status. This is different. This is real, and real is terrifying. Harper is at the kitchen table, eating cereal, watching her with amusement. She asks if Summer is going to stand there all day, and Summer laughs and pulls out a sweater, the soft one that Fitz once said he liked. She dresses quickly, grabs her bag, and heads out the door, her heart pounding for reasons she cannot quite articulate. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the campus coffee shop, where Summer is meeting Fitz between classes. He is already there when she arrives, a coffee waiting for her, his eyes warm when he sees her. She slides into the seat across from him, and he takes her hand, his thumb tracing small circles on her palm. They do not talk about the I love yous, not directly, but the words are there, hovering in the space between them. He asks about her day, about her fashion project, about whether she is free this weekend. She tells him that she is, that she wants to see him, that she always wants to see him. He smiles, and she feels the familiar flutter in her chest. They talk for an hour, maybe more, and the conversation is easy, the way it always is. But there is a new layer now, a depth that was not there before, a sense that they are building something that will last. The scene shifts to the hockey rink, where Fitz is in the middle of practice, his body moving on autopilot, his mind elsewhere. He's thinking about Summer, about the way she looked at him when he said I love you, about the way she said it back. He has never been in love before, not like this, and the intensity of it is almost overwhelming. Dean skates past him and mutters something about him being distracted, and Fitz shakes his head, forcing himself to focus. The puck comes toward him, and he stops it. Then another, then another. His coach calls out encouragement, and the practice continues. But underneath the ice and the sweat and the noise, he is replaying the moment, holding on to it, afraid that it might slip away. After practice, he checks his phone and finds a text from Summer, a photo of a sunset, a message that says, "Thinking of you." He types back, "Thinking of you too," and the words feel like a promise. The chapter follows Summer to her fashion design studio, where she is working on her collection, the sketches finally coming together the way she wants them to. Dr. Chen stops by her workspace and offers feedback, constructive and sharp, but not unkind. Summer incorporates the notes, adjusts a seam here, reworks a silhouette there, and the pieces begin to take on a life of their own. She thinks about Fitz, about the way he believes in her, about the way he makes her feel like she can do anything. She pulls out her phone and texts him a photo of her work in progress, asking for his opinion. He responds with a string of heart emojis and a message that says, "You are so talented. I am so proud of you." She smiles and sets her phone aside, the words settling into her chest like a warm light. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz at his apartment, the evening quiet, the lights low. They are lying on his bed, tangled together, the conversation drifting from topic to topic. She asks if he is nervous about the upcoming playoff game, the one that could send their team to the championship. He says that he is, that the pressure is intense, that he is trying not to think about it. She tells him that she believes in him, that he is the best goalie she has ever seen, that he has nothing to worry about. He kisses her, soft and slow. and she melts into him. When he pulls back, he tells her that he loves her again, and she tells him that she loves him too. The words are easier now, less terrifying, more like coming home. The chapter ends with them falling asleep, tangled together, the world outside forgotten. The chase is over, but the love is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more nights and more mornings, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 14 opens from Fitz's perspective on the morning of the championship playoff game, and he is standing in the locker room, his pads on, his mask in his hands, the noise of his teammates fading into a dull hum. He has been here before, in big games, with scouts watching, with the weight of expectations on his shoulders. But this time feels different. This time, he is playing for something more than a win or a contract. He is playing for her. Summer will be in the stands wearing his jersey, and he wants to be the reason she cheers, the reason she smiles, the reason she believes that taking a risk on him was worth it. Dean, beside him, says something about the opposing team's top scorer, about how they need to shut him down, and Fitz nods, but his mind is elsewhere. He thinks about his mother, about how proud she would be, about the game she never got to see. He thinks about his father, about the sacrifices that brought him here, about the debt he can never fully repay. He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the roar of the crowd washing over him. The chapter then shifts to Summer in the stands, surrounded by friends and strangers, her heart pounding in her chest. She is wearing Fitz's jersey, the one she has worn to every game since they became official, and she is clutching the sleeves, her knuckles white. The game is intense, back and forth, the lead changing hands multiple times. Fitz is sharp, his movements fluid, his focus absolute. He stops breakaways, deflects shots, covers rebounds. The crowd is on its feet, screaming, and Summer is screaming too, her voice lost in the noise. With minutes left in the third period, the game is tied, and the tension is unbearable. The opposing team pulls their goalie for an extra attacker, and Summer holds her breath. The puck comes toward Fitz, a slap shot from the point, and he gloved it, holding on, freezing the play. The buzzer sounds, the game goes into overtime, and Summer sinks back into her seat, her heart racing. The scene shifts to overtime, a sudden death period that feels like it lasts forever. Both teams are exhausted, the ice choppy, the chances few. Fitz makes save after save, his body a wall, his will unbreakable. Summer watches him, and she has never been more proud of anyone in her life. The game continues, minute after minute, and then a breakaway. One of Briar U's forwards, a freshman with speed to burn, breaks free and races toward the opposing net. He shoots, and the puck slides past the goalie, into the back of the net. The arena erupts. Summer is on her feet, screaming, hugging Brenner, crying, laughing, the noise deafening. On the ice, Fitz is mobbed by his teammates, helmets flying, sticks clattering. She watches him, and he looks up, finding her in the crowd, and he raises his glove to her. She waves back, and the moment is perfect. The chapter follows the team celebration, a chaotic, joyful affair in the locker room that spills out into the hallway, and eventually to the ice, where families and friends are allowed to join the players. Summer waits near the bench, her coat zipped against the cold, and when Fitz emerges, his hair damp, his gear bag slung over his shoulder, his eyes find hers immediately. He walks toward her, and she meets him halfway, and he pulls her into his arms, holding her tightly. She tells him that he was incredible, that she has never seen anything like that save, that she is so proud of him. He tells her that he made it for her, that she is his good luck charm, that he loves her. They kiss, right there on the ice, the crowd still cheering around them, and she does not care who sees. The moment is theirs, and she wants to hold on to it forever. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer at the after-party, a raucous celebration at the hockey house where the music is loud and the beer is flowing. They stay close to each other, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder, the noise and the chaos swirling around them. His teammates congratulate him, his coaches shake his hand, and Summer watches him soak it in, humble and proud at the same time. Dean makes a joke about him finally being able to relax, and Fitz laughs, the tension of the season finally releasing. As the night winds down, they slip away, walking hand in hand through the cold night, the stars bright overhead. He walks her to her door, and she asks if he wants to come in. He says yes, and she leads him inside, her hand in his. The chapter ends there, with the door closing behind them, the night still young, the future unwritten. The championship is won, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more games and more nights, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 15 opens from Summer's perspective the morning after the championship win, and she is lying in Fitz's bed, the sunlight streaming through the thin curtains, the warmth of his body pressed against her back. He's still asleep, his breathing slow and even, his arm draped over her waist. She does not want to move, does not want to break the spell of the night before, the celebration, the joy, the way he looked at her on the ice. She thinks about the game, about the save he made, about the roar of the crowd, about the way he found her in the stands. She thinks about the word love, about how easily it comes now, about how natural it feels to say it. She turns her head to look at him, his dark hair tousled, his mouth slightly open, and she feels a surge of tenderness so strong that it almost hurts. Her phone buzzes on the nightstand, and she reaches for it, careful not to wake him. It is a text from her mother, asking if she saw the game, if she knows any of the players, if she is coming home for the holidays. Summer types back a vague response, not ready to share Fitz with her family, not ready for the questions, the scrutiny, the inevitable disapproval. She sets the phone aside and curls back into Fitz's arms, wanting to stay in this bubble a little longer. The chapter then shifts to a scene at the campus coffee shop, where Summer is meeting Fitz after his morning skate. The shop is busy, crowded with students celebrating the win, and they find a small table in the corner, away from the noise. He is still riding the high of the championship, his energy bright, his smile easy. She loves seeing him like this, unguarded, happy, free from the weight of pressure and expectation. He tells her about the scouts who approached him after the game, about the interest from several NHL teams, about the possibility of being drafted. She tells him that she is proud of him, that he deserves it, that he has worked so hard for this. He takes her hand, and he tells her that none of it would mean as much if he did not have her to share it with. She feels tears prick at her eyes, and she blinks them back, not wanting to cry in the middle of a coffee shop. He leans across the table and kisses her, soft and quick, and she forgets about the noise, about the crowd, about everything except him. The scene shifts to Fitz's apartment, where Summer is helping him pack for a short road trip, a series of exhibition games that will take him away for a week. He is not excited about the trip, not excited about being away from her, and his mood has shifted, the brightness of the morning replaced by a quiet tension. She watches him fold shirts and shove them into a bag, his movements sharp, almost angry. She asks what is wrong, and he is quiet for a long moment. Then he tells her that he is scared, that he has never had this before, that he is afraid of losing it. She crosses the room and wraps her arms around him, and he holds her tightly, his face buried in her hair. She tells him that she is not going anywhere, that she will be here when he gets back, that she loves him. He pulls back and looks at her, his eyes searching hers, and then he kisses her, deep and desperate. They spend the afternoon in his bed, not talking, just holding on to each other, the time slipping away. The chapter follows Summer to the airport, where she is seeing Fitz off before his flight. The terminal is busy, travelers rushing past, and they stand in a corner, away from the crowd, holding hands. He tells her that he will call every night, that he will miss her, that he cannot wait to come back. She tells him that she will miss him too, that she will be counting the days, that she believes in him. He kisses her, soft and slow, and then he picks up his bag and walks toward the gate. She watches him go, his broad shoulders, his confident stride, and she feels a lump form in her throat. He turns back once, twice, 3 times, and each time he waves, and she waves back. Then he disappears through the gate, and she is alone, the noise of the terminal rushing back in. The chapter closes with Summer in her apartment, the evening quiet, the lights low. Harper is at the library, and the space feels empty, too quiet, too still. She lies on her bed, her phone in her hand, staring at the last text Fitz sent before his flight took off. A simple message that says, "I love you." She types back, "I love you too." And then she sets her phone aside and stares at the ceiling. She thinks about the week ahead, about the days without him, about the phone calls that will have to fill the gaps. She is not used to this, not used to missing someone, not used to being the one who waits. But she knows that he is worth it, that they are worth it, that the distance is temporary. She closes her eyes and listens to the sound of the city outside her window, the hum of traffic, the distant sirens, the ordinary noise of a world that keeps spinning, even when her heart is somewhere else. The chapter ends there, with Summer falling asleep alone, the phone still in her hand, the week ahead stretching out like an empty road. The chase is over, but the relationship is being tested. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of phone calls and homecomings, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger even across the miles. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 16 opens from Fitz's perspective on the 3rd day of his road trip, and he is lying in a hotel bed in a city he does not know, the television on but not watching, his phone in his hand. The exhibition games have been intense, the competition fierce, and his body is exhausted, every muscle aching. But the exhaustion is not what is keeping him awake. It is the silence, the absence of her, the way the bed feels too big and the room too quiet. He and Summer have been texting constantly, short messages between practices and meals, and they have talked on the phone every night, sometimes for an hour, sometimes longer. But it is not the same. He misses the way she laughs, the way she looks at him, the way she feels in his arms. He scrolls through photos of her on his phone, a selfie she sent him before he left, a picture of her in his jersey at the championship game, a candid shot he took of her sleeping, her hair spread across the pillow. He smiles, and the ache in his chest eases, just a little. His phone buzzes with a text from her, a photo of the sunset over the campus, a message that says, "Wish you were here." He types back, "Me too, more than you know." The chapter then shifts to Summer's perspective as she walks across campus on a cold, grey afternoon, her coat zipped to her chin, her hands buried in her pockets. She has been keeping busy, throwing herself into her fashion project, studying for exams, spending time with Brenna and Harper. But the distraction only works for so long. The truth is, she misses Fitz with an intensity that surprises her. She has never missed anyone like this, never felt this sense of incompleteness when someone is not there. She thinks about the road trip, about the games he is playing, about the scouts who are watching. She thinks about the future, about what will happen if he gets drafted, about the distance that could become permanent. She pushes the thoughts away, not wanting to borrow trouble, not wanting to ruin the time they have. Her phone buzzes with a text from him, a photo of his hotel room, a message that says, "This bed is too big without you." She laughs, the first real laugh of the day, and types back, "I will be there as soon as I can." The scene shifts to Fitz's hotel room, where he is lying on the bed, the curtains drawn, the room dark. His teammates are down the hall, some of them playing cards, some of them sleeping, but he needs the quiet, the solitude. He has been thinking about the future, about the NHL, about what it would mean to leave Briar U, to leave Summer. The draft is months away, and nothing is certain, but the possibility is real, and it terrifies him. He has spent his whole life working toward this dream, sacrificing, grinding, pushing through injuries and doubt. But now that the dream is within reach, he is not sure he wants it if it means losing her. He picks up his phone and calls her, and she answers on the first ring, her voice warm and familiar. They talk about nothing and everything, about the game he played earlier, about the dress she is designing, about the stupid joke Dean told at dinner. The conversation is easy, the way it always is, and the distance shrinks, just a little. When they finally say goodnight, he feels lighter, the weight on his chest not gone, but bearable. The chapter follows Summer to her fashion design studio, where she is working late, the only light in the room coming from the lamp on her desk. She has been struggling with a particular piece, a gown that is not coming together the way she envisioned, the fabric refusing to drape correctly. She thinks about Fitz, about the way he believes in her, about the way he makes her feel like she can do anything. She takes a breath, unpicks the seam, and starts again. This time, the fabric falls the way she wants it to, the silhouette taking shape, the dress becoming something beautiful. She works until her eyes blur, until her fingers ache, and when she finally steps back to look at the finished piece, she feels a surge of pride. She takes a photo and sends it to Fitz, not expecting a response at this hour, but he responds within seconds, a string of heart emojis and a message that says, "You are incredible." She smiles and packs up her things, the loneliness of the past few days fading, just a little. The chapter closes with Summer in her apartment, the lights low, her phone in her hand. Fitz is on the other end of the line, his voice sleepy, the words slurring together. She is curled up on her couch, a blanket pulled over her legs, the television on mute. They are not talking about anything important, just small things, the kind of things that do not matter, but feel significant because they are sharing them. He tells her about the hotel breakfast, about the burnt coffee and the rubbery eggs, and she laughs, the sound bright in the quiet room. She tells him about the dress, about the moment it finally came together, about the pride she felt. He tells her that he is proud of her too, that he cannot wait to see it in person, that he cannot wait to see her. The chapter ends with them saying goodnight, the phone calls becoming a lifeline, a thread that holds them together across the miles. The chase is over, but the love is being tested. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more phone calls and homecomings, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger even across the distance. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 17 opens from Summer's perspective on the final day of Fitz's road trip, and she is in her apartment, surrounded by fabric swatches and sketch paper, trying to focus on her fashion project, but failing miserably. He will be home tonight, and the anticipation has made it impossible to concentrate on anything else. She has cleaned the apartment twice, changed her outfit 3 times, and checked her phone approximately every 30 seconds for updates on his flight. Harper, who has been watching her with amused patience, finally tells her to relax, that he is not going to care if the apartment is messy or if her hair is perfect. Summer knows she is right, but she cannot help herself. She wants everything to be perfect for his return, wants to show him how much she missed him, wants to make up for the week of phone calls and text messages that never felt like enough. Her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz, a photo of the airport, a message that says, "Landed. See you soon." She types back, "Cannot wait," and then she paces some more. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective as he navigates the chaos of baggage claim and the rideshare pickup, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, his body tired but his mind alert. He has been thinking about Summer the whole way home, about the moment he will see her, about the way she will feel in his arms. The road trip was successful, 3 wins out of 4 games, and the scouts who watched him seemed impressed. But the success feels hollow without her. He has never been the kind of person who needed someone else to validate his achievements, but with Summer, everything is different. He wants to share the wins with her, wants to hear her say she is proud of him, wants to see the smile on her face when he tells her about the saves he made. The car pulls up to her apartment building, and he pays the driver, grabs his bag, and heads inside. He takes the stairs 2 at a time, his heart pounding. And when he reaches her door, he does not knock. He texts her, "Open up," and she opens it within seconds. The scene shifts to the moment of reunion, the door swinging open, and Summer standing there, her hair loose, her eyes bright, a smile so wide it lights up the whole hallway. Fitz drops his bag and pulls her into his arms, and she wraps herself around him, her face buried in his neck. They stand there for a long moment, the world falling away, the week of separation dissolving in the warmth of each other. He tells her that he missed her, that he thought about her every day, that he loves her. She tells him that she missed him too, that she loves him too, that she is so glad he is home. He pulls back to look at her, to really look at her, and she is even more beautiful than he remembered. He kisses her, and she kisses him back, and the hallway fades away. They stumble inside, the door closing behind them, the week of distance finally over. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz through the evening, a quiet celebration of being together again. They order takeout, eat it on the couch, the television on, but not watching. He tells her about the road trip, about the games, about the scouts who approached him. She listens, her head on his shoulder, her hand in his, and she tells him that she is proud of him, that he deserves everything that is coming to him. He asks about her week, about the fashion project, about the dress she was working on. She tells him about the struggles, the breakthroughs, the late nights in the studio. He tells her that he cannot wait to see the finished collection, that he knows it will be incredible. They talk until the food grows cold, until the sky outside darkens, until the only light in the room comes from the lamp in the corner. He pulls her closer, and they sit in silence, the way they have so many times before, comfortable and easy. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer in her bed, the room dark, the sound of the city drifting through the window. They make love, slow and tender, the way they did on the night of the championship. And afterward, she lies in his arms, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. He tells her that he does not want to leave again, that the road trip made him realize how much he hates being away from her. She tells him that she hates it too, that the week felt like a month, that she does not want to do it again. He kisses her forehead and says that he will talk to his coach, that he will try to limit the travel, that he will do whatever it takes to be with her. She knows that he cannot promise that hockey will always require sacrifice, but she appreciates the effort, the intention. The chapter ends with them falling asleep, tangled together, the week of separation a distant memory. The chase is over, but the relationship is deepening. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more nights like this, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 18 opens from Fitz's perspective a few days after his return from the road trip, and he is in the locker room before practice, his gear on, his mind on Summer. Something has been bothering him since he got back, a shift in her mood that he cannot quite identify. She is happy to see him, of course, and the nights they have spent together have been as intense and loving as ever. But there are moments when he catches her looking at him with something like worry in her eyes, and when he asks what is wrong, she says nothing, that she is fine, that he is imagining things. He is not imagining things. He knows her well enough now to recognize when she is hiding something. Dean, beside him, is talking about a party this weekend, about a girl he is trying to impress, but Fitz is not listening. He's replaying conversations, analyzing texts, trying to figure out what is going on in her head. He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the familiar rhythm of practice beginning to quiet his mind. But the worry remains, a low hum beneath the surface. The chapter then shifts to Summer's perspective as she sits in her fashion design studio, a half-finished garment in her lap, her needle frozen in mid-stitch. She has been avoiding a conversation with Fitz for days, a conversation about her parents, about the family event she has been dreading, about the fact that she has not told him the whole truth about her life. Her parents are hosting a formal gala at their estate in 2 weeks, an annual event that is as much about social networking as it is about charity, and they expect her to attend. They also expect her to bring a date, someone suitable, someone from the right family, someone who will not embarrass them. Fitz is not that person, not because he is not good enough, but because her parents will not see him the way she does. They will see a hockey player from a working-class background, a boy with no connections and no money, and they will judge him, and her, harshly. She has been trying to figure out how to tell him, how to explain without making him feel like he is not enough, but the words will not come. She sets the garment aside and rests her head on the table, the weight of the secret pressing down on her. The scene shifts to Fitz and Summer at the campus coffee shop, the afternoon light fading, the shop nearly empty. He has been quiet, and she has been quiet, and the silence between them is heavy. Finally, he asks her what is going on, why she has been distant, what she is not telling him. Summer looks at him, at his kind, patient eyes, and she knows she cannot avoid it any longer. She tells him about the gala, about her parents, about the pressure to bring someone suitable. She tells him that she has been afraid to invite him, afraid that he will say no, afraid that her parents will be cruel, afraid that it will change the way he sees her. Fitz listens, his expression unreadable. And when she finishes, he reaches across the table and takes her hand. He tells her that he is not afraid of her parents, that he does not care what they think, that he will go with her and be himself, and let the chips fall where they may. He tells her that she is worth it, that they are worth it, that he will not let her face them alone. Summer feels tears prick at her eyes, and she blinks them back, a wave of relief washing over her. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz to her apartment, where they are sitting on the couch, the conversation from the coffee shop still hanging in the air. She is leaning against him, his arm around her, and she is telling him more about her parents, about the expectations, about the loneliness of growing up in a house where love was conditional. He listens, and he does not judge, and he tells her about his own family, about his mother's death, about his father's quiet, steady love. They share their wounds, and the sharing makes them lighter. She asks if he is sure he wants to come to the gala, if he is ready to face the judgment and the scrutiny. He says that he is sure, that he is ready, that he will wear a suit and smile and be the best date she has ever had. She laughs, the first real laugh of the day, and kisses him, soft and grateful. The chapter closes with Summer lying in Fitz's bed, the room dark, the sound of his breathing steady beside her. She is still nervous about the gala, about her parents, about the potential for disaster. But she is also relieved, the secret finally shared, the burden no longer hers alone. He stirs beside her, mumbling something in his sleep, and she smiles, running her fingers through his hair. She thinks about the future, about the challenges that lie ahead, about the love that is growing stronger every day. She does not know what will happen at the gala, does not know if her parents will accept him, does not know if their relationship can survive the pressure. But she knows that she is not alone, that she has him, that together they can face anything. The chapter ends there, with Summer closing her eyes, the weight of the secret lifted, the promise of the gala looming on the horizon. The chase is over, but the challenges are just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 19 opens from Summer's perspective on the morning of her parents' gala, and she is standing in her apartment in front of the full-length mirror, her body encased in a gown of her own design. The dress is a deep emerald green, the fabric flowing like water, the bodice fitted, the neckline elegant but not revealing. It is the best thing she has ever made, and she knows it. But the pride she feels is tempered by the anxiety churning in her stomach. Fitz is coming to pick her up in an hour, and then they will drive to her parents' estate, and then she will have to watch the two most important people in her life navigate each other. She has warned him about her mother's sharp tongue and her father's cold disapproval. She has told him that they will be on their best behavior in public, but that the private moments will be a minefield. He has said he is ready, but she is not sure she is. Harper, sitting on the bed, tells her she looks beautiful, that Fitz is a lucky guy, that everything will be fine. Summer wants to believe her, but the knot in her chest will not loosen. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective, as he stands in his apartment, staring at himself in the mirror, the rented tuxedo unfamiliar and slightly uncomfortable. He has never been to an event like this, never worn clothes this formal, never had to make small talk with wealthy strangers who will be judging his every move. He is not nervous, or so he tells himself. He has faced down slapshots and breakaways, has stood alone in the net while the crowd screamed, has handled pressure that would break most people. This is just a party, This is just a room full of people whose opinions do not matter. But the truth is, he is nervous. He wants Summer's parents to like him, not for their approval, but for her. He does not want to be the reason they fight, the reason she is unhappy, the reason she feels torn between her family and her heart. Dean, sprawled on the couch, tells him he cleans up nicely, and Fitz throws a pillow at his head. He checks his phone and finds a text from Summer, a photo of her in the green gown, a message that says, "Ready when you are." He types back, "On my way," and heads out the door, his heart pounding. The scene shifts to the drive to the estate, Summer behind the wheel, Fitz in the passenger seat, the silence between them heavy. She is gripping the steering wheel so tightly that her knuckles are white, and he reaches over and places his hand on top of hers, gently prying her fingers loose. He tells her to breathe, that they are in this together, that no matter what happens tonight, they will leave together. She nods, her jaw tight, and she focuses on the road. The estate comes into view, a sprawling mansion set back from the road, the driveway lined with trees and parked cars. Summer pulls into a spot and kills the engine. They sit there for a moment, the headlights illuminating the gravel, the house looming in front of them. She turns to look at him, and he sees the fear in her eyes, the same fear he feels in his own chest. He leans over and kisses her, soft and quick, and tells her that he loves her. She tells him that she loves him too, and then she opens the door and steps out into the cold night air. The chapter follows them through the gala, a blur of champagne, small talk, and carefully polite smiles. Summer's mother, a striking woman with silver hair and cold eyes, greets them at the door, her gaze sweeping over Fitz with barely concealed assessment. Her father shakes his hand, his grip firm, his smile professional. They move through the crowd, and Summer introduces him to aunts and uncles and family friends, names and faces blurring together. Fitz handles it with more grace than she expected, answering questions about hockey with humility, deflecting comments about his background with quiet confidence. She watches him charm her grandmother, make her cousin laugh, even get a nod of approval from her father's business partner. But her mother remains distant, her smile never reaching her eyes, and Summer knows that the real test is yet to come. The scene shifts to a quiet moment on the terrace, away from the noise and the crowd, the cold air sharp on their faces. Summer is leaning against the railing, looking out at the garden, the lights twinkling in the darkness. Fitz stands beside her, his hand on her lower back. She tells him that she is sorry, that her mother is impossible, that she did not warn him enough. He tells her that he does not care, that he is not here for her mother, that he is here for her. She turns to look at him, and she sees the truth in his eyes, the love, the patience, the strength. She kisses him, and the world falls away. When they pull apart, she is smiling, a real smile, and the knot in her chest has loosened, just a little. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz leaving the gala earlier than expected, her mother's disapproval following them out the door. They do not talk on the drive back to her apartment, the silence no longer heavy but comfortable, the tension of the evening slowly dissolving. He walks her to her door, and she asks if he wants to come in. He says yes, and she leads him inside, her hand in his. The chapter ends there, with the door closing behind them, the gala behind them, the future still uncertain but the love still strong. The chase is over, but the challenges are not. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more nights like this, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 20 opens from Summer's perspective the morning after the gala, and she is lying in Fitz's bed, the sunlight filtering through the thin curtains, the events of the previous night replaying in her head like a film she cannot pause. Her mother's cold stares, her father's tight smiles, the whispered comments she pretended not to hear, but also Fitz's steady presence, his hand on her back, his quiet confidence in the face of their snobbery. He is still asleep beside her, his dark hair tousled, his breathing slow and even, and she watches him for a long moment, overwhelmed by a love so fierce it almost frightens her. She has never had anyone stand up for her like that, never had anyone look at her family's wealth and status and simply not care. Her phone buzzes on the nightstand, a text from her mother, a message that says, "We need to talk." Summer's stomach drops. She knows what is coming. The lecture about suitability, about reputation, about the kind of man she should be with. She types back a vague response, not ready to have that conversation, not sure she will ever be ready. She sets the phone aside and curls back into Fitz's arms, wanting to stay in this bubble a little longer. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective, as he wakes to find Summer watching him, her expression troubled. He asks what is wrong, and she shows him the text from her mother. He reads it, his jaw tightening, but he does not say what he is thinking. He knows that Summer's family sees him as an outsider, a temporary distraction, a phase she will outgrow. He knows that they will pressure her to end things, to find someone more suitable, to protect the family name. He also knows that he cannot control what they think or say. All he can control is how he shows up for her. He tells her that her mother's opinion does not matter, that the only thing that matters is how she feels, that he loves her and he is not going anywhere. She nods, but he can see the doubt in her eyes, the fear that their love might not be strong enough to withstand the weight of her family's expectations. He pulls her closer and holds her, not knowing what else to do. The scene shifts to later that day, as Summer drives to her parents' estate for the inevitable confrontation. Fitz wanted to come with her, but she told him no, that this was something she needed to face alone. The house looms in front of her, the same house where she grew up, the same house where she learned that love was conditional and appearances were everything. Her mother is waiting in the living room, her father beside her, their expressions grave. The conversation is every bit as painful as Summer expected. Her mother tells her that Fitz is not right for her, that he comes from a different world, that he will never fit into their social circle. Her father tells her that she is throwing away her future for a boy who will never be able to give her the life she deserves. Summer listens, her hands clenched in her lap, and when they are finished, she speaks. She tells them that she loves him, that he makes her happy, that she does not care about their approval. She tells them that she is tired of living her life to please them, that she is done pretending to be someone she is not. Her mother's face tightens, her father looks away, and the silence stretches, thick and uncomfortable. Summer stands up, walks out the door, and does not look back. The chapter closes with Summer in her apartment, sitting on the couch, her phone in her hand. She called Fitz on the drive home and told him everything, and he said he was proud of her, that she was brave, that he loved her. But the weight of the confrontation is still pressing on her chest, and she is not sure if she did the right thing. She has never stood up to her parents like that, never risked their disapproval, never chosen her own happiness over their expectations. Harper comes out of her room and sits beside her, not asking questions, just being there. Summer leans her head on Harper's shoulder and closes her eyes. The chapter ends there, with Summer exhausted but not broken, the love she fought for still burning bright. The chase is over, but the battles are not. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more challenges and more victories, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 21 opens from Fitz's perspective 2 days after Summer's confrontation with her parents, and he is in the locker room before practice, his gear on, his mind 1,000 miles away. Summer has been quiet since the visit to the estate, not withdrawn, but thoughtful, as if she is processing something heavy. He has given her space, not wanting to push. The silence is starting to worry him. He knows that her parents' disapproval is weighing on her, that she is questioning whether she made the right choice, that the fear of losing their love is a real and painful thing. He wants to fix it for her, wants to make it better, but he does not know how. Dean, beside him, is talking about a party this weekend, about a girl he is trying to impress, but Fitz is not listening. He is replaying the phone call from 2 nights ago, the sound of Summer's voice when she told him what she said to her parents. He is proud of her, impossibly proud, but he is also scared. What if she changes her mind? What if the pressure becomes too much? He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the cold air sharp in his lungs, the familiar rhythm of practice beginning to quiet the noise in his head. The chapter then shifts to Summer's perspective as she sits in her fashion design studio, a half-finished garment in her lap, her needle frozen in mid-stitch. She has been working on her collection with a new intensity, pouring her emotions into the fabric, the seams, the silhouettes. Dr. Chen has noticed the change, has commented on the depth of her work, and Summer knows that the depth is coming from the turmoil inside her. She misses her parents, or at least the idea of them, the comfort of knowing they were there even when they were not warm. She has not spoken to them since the confrontation, and the silence is both a relief and a wound. Her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz, a photo of the sunrise over the campus, a message that says, "Thinking of you." She types back, "Thinking of you too," and sets her phone aside. She thinks about the gala, about the way he stood by her, about the way he looked at her parents without flinching. She thinks about the future, about what it will take to build a life with him, about the sacrifices they will both have to make. She picks up her needle and continues stitching, the rhythm of the work calming her. The scene shifts to Fitz and Summer at a small park near campus, sitting on a bench, the autumn leaves falling around them. He has been quiet all afternoon, and she has noticed. She asks what is wrong, and he is quiet for a long moment. Then he tells her that he is scared, that he has never had this before, that he is afraid of losing her to her family's expectations. She takes his hand and tells him that she is not going anywhere, that she chose him, that she will keep choosing him. He asks if she is sure, and she says that she is sure, that she has never been more sure of anything. He pulls her close, and they sit in silence, the leaves falling, the world moving around them. He tells her that he loves her, and she tells him that she loves him too, and the words feel like a promise, a shield against whatever is coming. The chapter follows Summer to a meeting with her parents, a conversation she has been dreading but knows she cannot avoid. She meets them at a neutral location, a quiet restaurant off campus, and the atmosphere is tense from the moment they sit down. Her mother is cold, her father distant, and Summer feels the familiar weight of their disapproval. She tells them that she is not going to break up with Fitz, that she loves him, that she is happy. She tells them that she hopes they can accept her choice, but that she will not change it to please them. Her mother's jaw tightens, her father looks away, and for a moment, Summer thinks the conversation is over. Then her father speaks. He tells her that he does not understand her choice, that he thinks she is making a mistake, but that he loves her and he will not cut her off. It is not acceptance, not really, but it is a crack in the wall, a small opening. Summer nods, thanks him, and leaves, her heart lighter than it has been in days. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz on the phone that night, she in her apartment, he in his. She tells him about the meeting, about her father's words, about the small crack of hope. He tells her that he is proud of her, that she is brave, that he loves her. They talk for hours, the conversation drifting from the serious to the silly, and the distance shrinks, just a little. When they finally say goodnight, Summer lies in her bed, the phone still in her hand, a smile on her face. The chase is over, but the relationship is being tested. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more conversations and more challenges, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 22 opens from Summer's perspective 2 weeks after the conversation with her parents, and she is in her fashion design studio, putting the finishing touches on her final collection. The pieces are arranged on mannequins, the fabrics rich and varied, the silhouettes elegant and modern. Dr. Chen has scheduled the critique for next week, and Summer is nervous, more nervous than she has been for any exam or presentation. This collection is personal, a reflection of her journey, her growth, her love. Each piece carries a piece of her, and the thought of strangers judging it, of reducing it to a grade or a comment, makes her stomach churn. Fitz has been her rock through the process, coming to the studio late at night to keep her company, offering opinions she did not always agree with, believing in her when she doubted herself. She thinks about the dress she designed for the gala, the one that made her feel beautiful and strong, and she knows that her best work comes from a place of authenticity, not from trying to please others. She steps back and looks at the collection, at the months of work, at the tears and the breakthroughs, and she feels a swell of pride. Her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz, a photo of his own reflection in his goalie mask, a message that says, "Almost game time." She types back, "Good luck, I love you," and sets her phone aside. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective, as he stands in the tunnel leading to the ice, the roar of the crowd vibrating through the concrete. The playoffs are underway, and tonight is the first game of the semi-finals, a matchup against a team that has beaten them twice in the regular season. The pressure is immense, the scouts are watching, and Fitz feels the familiar weight of expectation settling onto his shoulders. But underneath the pressure, there is something new, a sense of purpose that goes beyond the game. He's playing for Summer, for the future they are building, for the family he hopes to have someday. He thinks about her parents, about their disapproval, about the way she stood up to them for him. He thinks about her collection, about the dress she made for the gala, about the talent and passion she pours into her work. He thinks about the word love, about how it used to scare him, about how it now feels like home. Dean skates past him and bumps his shoulder, a wordless gesture of support. Fitz pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the cold air sharp in his lungs, the noise of the crowd washing over him. The scene shifts to the game, a brutal back-and-forth battle that leaves both teams exhausted and the crowd on edge. Fitz is sharp, his movements fluid, his focus absolute. He stops breakaways, deflects shots, covers rebounds. The game is tied late in the third period when the opposing team gets a power play, a golden opportunity to take the lead. The pressure is intense, the crowd screaming, and Fitz finds himself in a one-on-one with their top scorer, a player who has beaten him before. The forward dekes left, shoots right, and Fitz stretches across the crease, his pad deflecting the puck wide. The buzzer sounds, the game goes into overtime, and Fitz skates to the bench, his heart pounding, his lungs burning. Overtime is sudden death, and both teams are playing with desperation. The minutes tick by, the chances come and go, and then a breakaway. One of Briar U's forwards breaks free and races toward the opposing net. He shoots, the puck slides past the goalie, and the arena erupts. Fitz is mobbed by his teammates, helmets flying, sticks clattering, and he is laughing, shouting, lost in the chaos. The chapter follows Summer to the after-party, a raucous celebration at the hockey house where the music is loud and the beer is flowing. She has been waiting for Fitz outside the locker room, and when he emerges, his hair damp, his gear bag slung over his shoulder, his eyes find hers immediately. He walks toward her, and she meets him halfway, and he pulls her into his arms, holding her tightly. She tells him that he was incredible, that she has never seen anything like that save, that she is so proud of him. He tells her that he made it for her, that she is his good luck charm, that he loves her. They kiss, right there in the hallway, the noise of the party fading, and the moment is perfect. They spend the night celebrating, surrounded by teammates and friends, the joy of the win carrying them through the hours. As the night winds down, they slip away, walking hand in hand through the cold night, the stars bright overhead. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer in his apartment, the lights low, the celebration finally over. They are lying on his bed, tangled together, the conversation drifting from the game to the future. He tells her that he was offered an interview with an NHL team, that they want to meet with him next week, that the draft is becoming a real possibility. She tells him that she is proud of him, that he deserves it, that she will be there for him no matter what. He asks if she is scared, and she says yes, that she is scared of the distance, of the uncertainty, of the changes that are coming. He tells her that he is scared too, but that he is also excited, that he wants to build a life with her, that he will do whatever it takes to make it work. She kisses him, soft and slow, and the fear fades, just a little. The chapter ends there, with them falling asleep, tangled together, the win behind them, the future ahead. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more games and more nights, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 23 opens from Summer's perspective, the morning of her final critique, and she is standing in the fashion design studio, surrounded by her collection, her heart pounding in her chest. The pieces are arranged exactly as she wants them, the lighting adjusted, the mannequins positioned. She has been working toward this moment for months, pouring her heart into every stitch, every seam, every choice of fabric. And now strangers will judge it. Dr. Chen enters with two other professors, their expressions neutral, their clipboards ready. Summer takes a breath and begins her presentation, explaining her inspiration, her process, her vision. She talks about the journey of self-discovery, about learning to be true to oneself, about the beauty of vulnerability. She does not mention Fitz by name, but he is in every piece, in the softness of the fabrics, in the strength of the silhouettes, in the colors that shift from muted to bold. The professors take notes, ask questions, offer comments. Summer answers as best she can, her voice steady, her hands only slightly trembling. When the critique is over, they leave without giving her a grade, and Summer sinks into a chair, exhausted and relieved. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective, as he sits in a hotel room in a city he does not know, waiting for his interview with an NHL team. The room is generic, beige walls and bland art, and he has been staring at the same spot on the carpet for 10 minutes, trying to calm his nerves. He has played in championship games, faced down breakaways, stood alone in the net while the crowd screamed. But this is different. This is not about stopping a puck. This is about convincing strangers that he is worth investing in, that he has what it takes to play at the highest level, that he will not let them down. He thinks about Summer, about the way she believes in him, about the way she looks at him, like he is already the man he wants to become. He thinks about his father, about the sacrifices that brought him here, about the debt he can never fully repay. He thinks about his mother, about how proud she would be. His phone buzzes with a text from Summer, a photo of her collection, a message that says, "Critique is over. I think it went well." He types back, "Proud of you. I love you," and sets his phone aside. He stands up, adjusts his tie, and walks out the door. The scene shifts to the interview, a conference room with a long table and a row of executives in suits. They ask him about his stats, his strengths, his weaknesses. They ask him about his family, his background, his motivations. He answers honestly, not trying to impress, just being himself. He tells them about his mother's death, about how hockey saved him, about the discipline and focus it taught him. He tells them about his father, about the values he learned, about the importance of hard work. He tells them about Summer, about how she changed him, about how love made him a better player and a better person. The executives exchange glances, and Fitz is not sure if he said too much. The interview ends with a handshake and a promise to be in touch. Fitz walks out of the building, the cold air sharp on his face, and he feels lighter, the weight of the unknown slightly less crushing. The chapter follows Summer to her apartment, where she is waiting for Fitz to call. He texted her that the interview was over, but he has not said how it went, and the silence is making her crazy. She paces the living room, checks her phone for the 100th time, and Harper tells her to relax, that he will call when he can. Finally, her phone buzzes with a video call, and she answers immediately. Fitz appears on the screen, tired but smiling, and she asks how it went. He says that he does not know, that it could go either way, that he is trying not to overthink it. She tells him that she is proud of him, that no matter what happens, she will be there. He tells her that he loves her, that he cannot wait to see her, that he is coming home tomorrow. They talk until his phone battery dies, and Summer lies on her couch, the phone still in her hand, a smile on her face. The chapter closes with Fitz on the plane home, the clouds drifting past the window, his mind replaying the interview. He does not know if he will be drafted, does not know where he will be next year, does not know if he can have both hockey and Summer. But he knows that he is done running from his feelings, done pretending that love is a distraction. He knows that she is worth fighting for, that they are worth fighting for. The plane lands, and he takes a car to her apartment, not bothering to go home first. She opens the door before he can knock, and she jumps into his arms, and he holds her tightly, the week of separation dissolving in the warmth of each other. The chapter ends there, with them standing in the doorway, the future uncertain, the present full of love. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more interviews and more critiques, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 24 opens from Fitz's perspective, a week after his NHL interview, and he is in the locker room before practice, his gear on, his phone in his hand. The waiting has been agonizing, the silence from the team that interviewed him, making him second-guess every answer he gave, every word he said. He has been trying to focus on hockey, on the playoffs, on the next game, but the uncertainty is a constant hum beneath everything. Summer has been his anchor, her texts a lifeline, her presence a comfort. But even she cannot quiet the voice in his head that asks, what if? What if they are not interested? What if he is not good enough? What if the dream he has been chasing since he was a kid slips through his fingers? Dean, beside him, is talking about a party this weekend, about a girl he is trying to impress, but Fitz is not listening. He's staring at his phone, willing it to ring. It does not. He pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the cold air sharp in his lungs, the familiar rhythm of practice beginning to quiet the noise in his head. The chapter then shifts to Summer's perspective as she sits in her fashion design studio, her final collection packed away, the space feeling empty without the mannequins and the fabrics. Dr. Chen posted the grades, and Summer received an A, the highest mark in the class. She should be ecstatic, should be celebrating, should be calling her parents and her friends. But the victory feels hollow without Fitz beside her. He has been distant lately, consumed by the waiting, and she understands. But she misses him. She misses the ease of their conversations, the way he used to make her laugh, the way he would hold her hand under the table at the coffee shop. She knows that this is what it means to love someone, to weather the storms together, to be patient when patience is hard. She packs up her things and heads to his apartment, wanting to be there for him, even if he does not know he needs her. The scene shifts to Fitz's apartment, where Summer finds him sitting on the couch, staring at the wall, the television off. He looks up when she walks in, and his expression softens, just a little. She sits beside him, takes his hand, and asks how he is doing. He says that he is fine, the automatic response, but she knows him better than that. She waits, and eventually he talks. He tells her about the interview, about the executives, about the answers he gave. He tells her about his mother, about how she always believed he would make it, about how he feels like he is letting her down. He tells her about his father, about the pressure to succeed, about the fear of disappointing the only family he has left. Summer listens, and she does not try to fix it. She just holds his hand and lets him talk. When he is finished, she tells him that she believes in him, that no matter what happens, he is already a success, that he is loved. He pulls her close, and they sit in silence, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. The chapter follows Fitz and Summer through the evening. A quiet night in, takeout on the couch, a movie playing in the background that neither of them is watching. He is still quiet, still processing, but he is not alone. She is there, and that makes the waiting bearable. His phone buzzes, and his heart stops. It is a call from an unknown number, the area code matching the city where he interviewed. He looks at Summer, and she nods, and he answers. The conversation is short, the voice on the other end professional, and when he hangs up, his face is unreadable. Summer asks what they said, and he tells her that they want him to come back for a second interview, that they are impressed, that they are considering him seriously. Summer throws her arms around him, laughing, crying, and he holds her tightly, the relief flooding through him. He is not there yet, but he is closer. The dream is still alive. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer in his bed, the room dark, the sound of the city drifting through the window. They are lying tangled together, the conversation still going, the excitement still buzzing. He tells her that he could not have done this without her, that she is his good luck charm, that he loves her. She tells him that she loves him too, that she is proud of him, that she will be with him every step of the way. He kisses her, soft and slow, and the fear fades, just a little. The chapter ends there, with them falling asleep, the second interview on the horizon, the future still uncertain, but the love still strong. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more interviews and more games, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 25 opens from Summer's perspective, a few days after Fitz received the call for his second interview, and she is in her apartment, surrounded by swatches of fabric and sketch paper, trying to brainstorm ideas for her next collection. Her professor has encouraged her to submit her work to a design competition, a prestigious event that could launch her career. But the deadline is looming, and she has not yet found the inspiration she needs. She has been staring at the same blank page for an hour, her pencil idle in her hand, her mind elsewhere. Fitz is leaving tomorrow for his second interview, and the thought of him being away again, even for a few days, makes her chest ache. She is proud of him, thrilled for him, but she is also selfishly greedy for his time, his attention, his presence. Harper, sitting on the couch, notices her distraction and asks what is wrong. Summer tells her that she is worried about the distance, about what will happen if he gets drafted, about whether their relationship can survive the changes that are coming. Harper tells her that she cannot control the future, that she can only control how she shows up in the present, that love is not about certainty, but about courage. Summer nods, but the knot in her chest does not loosen. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective as he packs a small bag for his trip, his movements mechanical, his mind churning. The second interview is a good sign, a sign that they are seriously considering him, but it also means more pressure, more scrutiny, more chances to fail. He thinks about Summer, about the way she looked at him when he told her the news, about the way she said she was proud of him. He wants to be the man she deserves, the man who can provide for her, support her, give her the life she wants. But he is not sure he knows how to be that man. He has spent his whole life focused on hockey, on surviving, on proving himself. He has never had to think about someone else's dreams, someone else's needs, someone else's future. Dean, lounging on the couch, tells him to stop overthinking, that he is talented, that he has earned this, that he will be fine. Fitz nods, but the knot in his chest does not loosen. The scene shifts to the night before Fitz's trip, as Summer and Fitz lie in his bed, the room dark, the city quiet outside. They are not sleeping, just holding each other, the conversation drifting from topic to topic. She asks if he is nervous, and he says yes, that he is terrified, that he does not want to let anyone down. She tells him that he will not let anyone down, that he is already a success, that she believes in him. He pulls her closer and tells her that he loves her, that he does not know what he would do without her. She tells him that she loves him too, that she will be here when he gets back, that she is not going anywhere. They make love, slow and tender, and afterward, she lies in his arms, listening to his heartbeat. She thinks about the competition, about the designs she cannot seem to create, about the fear that she is not talented enough, not driven enough, not good enough. But in his arms, the fear feels smaller, more manageable. She closes her eyes and lets sleep take her. The chapter follows Fitz to the airport the next morning, Summer driving him, the silence between them heavy. He is carrying his small bag, and she is gripping the steering wheel, not wanting to let him go. They park and walk to the terminal, and he checks in, and then they stand near the security line, the moments slipping away. He tells her that he will call her tonight, that he loves her, that he will be back before she knows it. She tells him that she loves him too, that she will be counting the days, that she believes in him. He kisses her, soft and slow, and then he picks up his bag and walks toward the security line. She watches him go, his broad shoulders, his confident stride, and she feels a lump form in her throat. He turns back once, twice, and each time he waves, and she waves back. Then he disappears through the security checkpoint, and she is alone. The chapter closes with Summer in her apartment, the evening quiet, the lights low. Harper is at the library, and the space feels empty, too quiet, too still. She lies on her bed, her phone in her hand, staring at the last text Fitz sent before his plane took off. A simple message that says, "I love you." She types back, "I love you too," and then she sets her phone aside and stares at the ceiling. She thinks about the competition, about the designs that are not coming, about the fear that she is not good enough. She thinks about Fitz, about the distance, about the uncertainty of the future. She closes her eyes and listens to the sound of the city outside her window, the hum of traffic, the distant sirens, the ordinary noise of a world that keeps spinning even when her heart is somewhere else. The chapter ends there, with Summer falling asleep alone, the phone still in her hand, the days ahead stretching out like an empty road. The chase is over, but the challenges are not. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of phone calls and homecomings, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger even across the miles. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 26 opens from Fitz's perspective on the morning of his second interview, and he is standing in front of the hotel mirror, adjusting his tie for the third time, his reflection unfamiliar in the borrowed suit. He slept poorly, his mind racing with scenarios, with questions he might be asked, with answers he should have prepared. The city outside his window is grey and cold, nothing like the campus he has called home for 4 years. He thinks about Summer, about the way she looked at him when she dropped him off at the airport, about the faith she has in him. He wants to be worthy of that faith, wants to walk into that room and convince those executives that he is the right choice, that he will not let them down. His phone buzzes with a text from her, a photo of sunrise over her apartment building, a message that says, "Thinking of you, you have got this." He types back, "Love you," and sets his phone aside. He takes a breath, straightens his tie, and walks out the door. The chapter then shifts to the interview itself, a conference room with a long table and the same row of executives, their faces neutral, their questions sharp. They ask about his performance in the playoffs, about his statistics, about how he handles pressure. They ask about his injury history, about his training regimen, about his long-term goals. Fitz answers each question as honestly as he can, not trying to impress, just being himself. They ask about his family, about his support system, about what he will do if he is not drafted. He tells them that he will keep playing, keep working, keep proving himself. He tells them that he has people who believe in him, people who have sacrificed for him, people he will not let down. The executives exchange glances, and the lead interviewer nods. The interview ends with a handshake and a promise to be in touch within the week. Fitz walks out of the building, the cold air sharp on his face, and he feels a sense of relief. Not because he knows the outcome, but because he did his best. He cannot control the rest. The scene shifts to Summer's perspective as she sits in her fashion design studio, a fresh sketchpad in front of her, a new idea finally taking shape. The competition deadline is still weeks away, but the block she has been experiencing has lifted, and the designs are flowing onto the page. She is drawing a dress inspired by Fitz, by his strength, his vulnerability, his unwavering belief in her. The lines are bold, the colors deep, the silhouette powerful and elegant. She works until her hand cramps, until the light fades, and when she finally sets down her pencil, she has the beginning of something she is proud of. Her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz, a photo of his hotel room, a message that says, "Interview is over. I think it went well." She types back, "Proud of you, I love you," and sets her phone aside. She looks at her sketch, at the dress taking shape, and she feels a spark of excitement. She is creating something new, something real, something that matters. The chapter follows Fitz to the airport, his bag slung over his shoulder, his phone in his hand. He is exhausted, emotionally drained, but also strangely at peace. He did everything he could. The rest is out of his hands. He texts Summer his flight information and boards the plane, the seat uncomfortable, the air stale. He closes his eyes and thinks about her, about the way she feels in his arms, about the sound of her laugh, about the future he wants to build with her. He is not sure where he will be next year, not sure if he will be drafted, not sure if he can have both hockey and her, but he knows that he will not give up on either. The plane takes off, and he watches the city shrink beneath him, the clouds drifting past the window. He falls asleep before the seatbelt sign turns off. The chapter closes with Summer at the airport, waiting for Fitz's arrival. She has been standing near the baggage claim for 20 minutes, her eyes scanning the crowd, her heart pounding. When he finally appears, his duffel bag over his shoulder, his hair disheveled, his eyes tired, she feels a wave of relief wash over her. He sees her, and his face lights up, and he walks toward her, dropping his bag to pull her into his arms. They stand there for a long moment, the world falling away, the days of separation dissolving. He tells her that he missed her, that he thought about her the whole time, that he loves her. She tells him that she missed him too, that she loves him too, that she is so glad he is home. They kiss, and the noise of the airport fades. The chapter ends there, with them walking out of the terminal hand in hand, the cold night air sharp on their faces. The future uncertain, but the present full of love. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more interviews and more designs, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 27 opens from Summer's perspective, a week after Fitz returned from his second interview, and she is in her fashion design studio, putting the final touches on her competition entry. The dress she sketched in a burst of inspiration has evolved into a full collection, 5 pieces that tell a story of strength, vulnerability, and transformation. She has named the collection Falling, after the sensation of letting go of control and trusting the descent. Dr. Chen has reviewed her work and offered rare praise, telling Summer that this is the best thing she has ever done. Summer knows that the depth in her designs comes from Fitz, from the love that has changed her, from the courage he has given her to be herself. She steps back and looks at the collection, at the months of work, at the tears and the breakthroughs, and she feels a swell of pride. Her phone buzzes with a text from Fitz, a photo of the sunset over the campus, a message that says, "Come watch the game with me tonight?" The playoffs are still underway, and every game matters. She types back, "I will be there," and packs up her things. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective as he stands in the tunnel leading to the ice, the roar of the crowd vibrating through the concrete. The playoffs are reaching their peak, and tonight's game could send their team to the championship. The pressure is immense, the scouts are watching, and Fitz feels the familiar weight of expectation settling onto his shoulders. But underneath the pressure, there is something new, a sense of calm that comes from knowing that Summer is in the stands, that she believes in him, that she will be there no matter what. He thinks about his interview, about the waiting, about the uncertainty of his future. He thinks about the draft, about the possibility of leaving Briar U, about the distance that could come between him and Summer. He pushes the thoughts away, focusing on the game, on the puck, on the here and now. Dean skates past him and bumps his shoulder, a wordless gesture of support. Fitz pulls on his mask and follows his teammates onto the ice, the cold air sharp in his lungs, the noise of the crowd washing over him. The scene shifts to the game, a fierce back-and-forth battle that leaves both teams exhausted and the crowd on edge. Fitz is sharp, his movements fluid, his focus absolute. He stops breakaways, deflects shots, covers rebounds. The game is tied late in the third period, when the opposing team gets a power play, a golden opportunity to take the lead. The pressure is intense, the crowd screaming, and Fitz finds himself in a one-on-one with their top scorer, a player who has beaten him before. The forward dekes left, shoots right, and Fitz stretches across the crease, his glove snatching the puck out of the air. The buzzer sounds, the game goes into overtime, and Fitz skates to the bench, his heart pounding, his lungs burning. Overtime is sudden death, and both teams are playing with desperation. The minutes tick by, the chances come and go, and then a breakaway. One of Briar U's forwards breaks free and races toward the opposing net. He shoots, the puck slides past the goalie, and the arena erupts. Fitz is mobbed by his teammates, helmets flying, sticks clattering, and he is laughing, shouting, lost in the chaos. The chapter follows Summer to the after-party, a raucous celebration at the hockey house where the music is loud and the beer is flowing. She has been waiting for Fitz outside the locker room, and when he emerges, his hair damp, his gear bag slung over his shoulder, his eyes find hers immediately. He walks toward her, and she meets him halfway, and he pulls her into his arms, holding her tightly. She tells him that he was incredible, that she has never seen anything like that, save that she is so proud of him. He tells her that he made it for her, that she is his good luck charm, that he loves her. They kiss, right there in the hallway, the noise of the party fading, and the moment is perfect. They spend the night celebrating, surrounded by teammates and friends, the joy of the win carrying them through the hours. As the night winds down, they slip away, walking hand in hand through the cold night, the stars bright overhead. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer in his apartment, the lights low, the celebration finally over. They are lying on his bed, tangled together, the conversation drifting from the game to the future. He tells her that he has another interview next week with a different team, that the draft is becoming more real every day. She tells him that she is proud of him, that he deserves it, that she will be there for him no matter what. He asks if she is scared, and she says yes, that she is scared of the distance, of the uncertainty, of the changes that are coming. He tells her that he is scared too, but that he is also excited, that he wants to build a life with her, that he will do whatever it takes to make it work. She kisses him, soft and slow, and the fear fades, just a little. The chapter ends there, with them falling asleep, tangled together, the wind behind them, the future ahead. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more games and more nights, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 28 opens from Fitz's perspective a few days after the playoff win, and he is in his apartment, staring at his phone, the screen displaying an email that will change his life. The subject line reads, "Draft notification," and his heart is pounding so hard that he can barely focus on the words. He has been waiting for this moment for months, for years, for his entire life. The email confirms that he has been invited to the NHL Draft Combine, a week-long evaluation event where teams assess potential draftees through physical and psychological testing. It is not a guarantee of being drafted, but it is a step closer, a validation of all the sacrifices, all the early mornings, all the pain. He wants to call Summer, wants to share the news, but his hands are shaking, and he cannot find the words. Dean, who has been watching him from the couch, asks what is wrong. Fitz hands him the phone, and Dean reads the email, his eyes widening. He lets out a whoop and tackles Fitz in a hug, and the tension breaks. Fitz laughs, the relief flooding through him, and he finally calls Summer. The chapter then shifts to Summer's perspective as she sits in her fashion design studio, her phone in her hand, tears streaming down her face. Fitz just told her about the combine, and she is overwhelmed with pride, with joy, with a fierce love that she can barely contain. She knows what this means to him, knows how hard he has worked, knows how much he has sacrificed. She also knows what it could mean for their future. The combine is in another city, a week-long event, and if he is drafted, he could be sent anywhere in the country, or even to another country altogether. The distance that already feels unbearable could become permanent. She pushes the thought away, not wanting to taint this moment, not wanting to borrow trouble. She tells him that she is proud of him, that he deserves this, that she loves him. He tells her that he loves her too, that he could not have done it without her, that he will be home soon. She hangs up and sits in the studio, the fabric and mannequins around her, the weight of the future pressing down on her chest. The scene shifts to Fitz and Summer at a small restaurant off campus, celebrating the news. The restaurant is not fancy, just the Italian place they love, but the occasion makes it feel special. They order wine and bread and talk about the combine, about the draft, about the possibilities. He is excited, but she can see the fear in his eyes, the same fear she feels. He asks if she is okay, and she says that she is happy for him, that she will support him no matter what. He reaches across the table and takes her hand, and he tells her that he does not want to lose her, that he will do whatever it takes to make the distance work. She tells him that she does not want to lose him either, that they will figure it out, that they are strong enough. They sit in silence, the food growing cold, the weight of the unknown hanging between them. He pays the check, and they walk home hand in hand, the night cold and clear. The chapter follows Summer to her apartment, where she lies on her bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. The combine is in 2 weeks, and then the draft, and then everything could change. She thinks about her own future, about the competition, about the career she is building. She thinks about the possibility of following him, of leaving her own dreams behind, of starting over somewhere new. She is not sure she is ready for that, not sure she can be the person who sacrifices everything for love. Harper comes into the room and sits on the edge of the bed, asking what is wrong. Summer tells her about the combine, about the draft, about the fear that she is losing herself in someone else's story. Harper listens, and then she tells Summer that love is not about losing yourself, but about finding someone who helps you become more yourself. She tells Summer that she does not have to decide anything today, that she can take it one step at a time. Summer nods, but the knot in her chest does not loosen. The chapter closes with Fitz and Summer on the phone that night, the conversation quiet, the words careful. They are both scared, both trying to be brave for each other, both pretending that the future is not as daunting as it seems. He tells her that he wishes she could come to the combine with him, that he needs her there, that he does not want to do this alone. She tells him that she wishes she could be there too, that she will be there in spirit, that she will be counting the days until he comes home. He tells her that he loves her, and she tells him that she loves him too, and the words feel like a lifeline. The chapter ends there, with them saying goodnight, the phone calls becoming a ritual, a thread that holds them together across the miles. The chase is over, but the challenges are just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more conversations and more decisions, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger even through the fear. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 29 opens from Summer's perspective on the morning Fitz leaves for the NHL draft combine, and she is standing in the parking lot of his apartment building, the early light grey and cold, her arms wrapped around herself against the chill. His duffel bag is in the trunk of his car, and he is saying goodbye to Dean, who has come down to see him off. Fitz looks nervous, more nervous than she has ever seen him, his jaw tight, his hands shoved into his pockets. She walks over to him, and he pulls her into a hug, holding her tightly. She tells him that he is going to be amazing, that he has worked for this, that he deserves it. He tells her that he loves her, that he will miss her, that he will call every night. She tells him that she loves him too, and then she steps back, and he gets into the car. He rolls down the window and looks at her, and she waves, and he waves back. Then he drives away, his taillights disappearing around the corner. Summer stands there for a long moment, the cold seeping through her coat, the weight of the unknown pressing down on her chest. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective as he drives down the highway, the city shrinking in his rearview mirror, the road stretching out before him. The combine is in Toronto, a 6-hour drive, and he has the radio on low, not really listening. His mind is on Summer, on the way she looked at him when he left, on the faith she has in him. He thinks about his mother, about how proud she would be, about the game she never got to see. He thinks about his father, about the sacrifices that brought him here, about the debt he can never fully repay. He thinks about the combine, about the physical tests, the psychological evaluations, the interviews. He is ready, or he thinks he is. He has trained for this, prepared for this, dreamed of this. But the fear is still there, a low hum beneath the surface. He grips the steering wheel tighter and presses on the gas. The scene shifts to the combine, a sprawling athletic facility filled with prospects, scouts, and media. Fitz checks into his hotel, drops his bag, and heads to the orientation. The room is packed with young men, all of them nervous, all of them trying to look confident. Fitz finds a seat near the back and listens to the instructions, the schedule, the rules. The next few days will be a blur of physical testing, interviews, and psychological evaluations. He will be measured, weighed, poked, and prodded. He will be asked about his strengths, his weaknesses, his family, his future. He will be judged, ranked, and compared to his peers. He takes a breath and tells himself that he can do this. His phone buzzes with a text from Summer, a photo of her latest design, a message that says, "Thinking of you. You have got this." He types back, "Love you," and tucks his phone back in his pocket. The chapter follows Fitz through the first day of the combine, a grueling series of physical tests that leave his body aching and his mind numb. He runs, jumps, lifts, and sprints. He is measured for height, weight, wingspan, and body fat. He is interviewed by team after team, answering the same questions in slightly different ways. He is polite, professional, and honest. He does not try to be someone he is not. By the end of the day, he is exhausted, emotionally and physically drained. He returns to his hotel room, orders room service, and calls Summer. She answers on the first ring, her voice warm and familiar. He tells her about the day, about the tests, about the interviews. She listens, and she does not try to fix anything. She just lets him talk. When he is finished, she tells him that she is proud of him, that he is doing great, that she believes in him. He tells her that he loves her, and she tells him that she loves him too. They talk until his eyes grow heavy, and then they say goodnight. The chapter closes with Summer in her apartment, the phone still in her hand, the conversation still echoing in her ears. She is worried about him, about the pressure, about the outcome. But she is also proud, fiercely proud, of the man he is becoming. She thinks about her own future, about the competition, about the designs she is working on. She thinks about the possibility of following him, of leaving her own dreams behind, of starting over somewhere new. She is not sure she is ready for that, not sure she can be the person who sacrifices everything for love. But she knows that she does not have to decide today. She closes her eyes and listens to the sound of the city outside her window, the hum of traffic, the distant sirens, the ordinary noise of a world that keeps spinning even when her heart is somewhere else. The chapter ends there, with Summer falling asleep, the phone still in her hand, the days ahead stretching out like an empty road. The chase is over, but the challenges are just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more phone calls and homecomings, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger even across the miles. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 30 opens from Fitz's perspective on the final day of the NHL Draft Combine, and he is standing in a hotel conference room, surrounded by other prospects, all of them waiting for the results of the psychological evaluations. The past 3 days have been a blur of physical testing, interviews, and sleepless nights. His body aches, his mind is exhausted, and he is ready to go home. But the waiting is not over. The combine will end with a meeting, each prospect called in individually to receive feedback from the league. Fitz has no idea what they will say, no idea if he has impressed anyone, no idea if his dream is any closer to becoming reality. He thinks about Summer, about the way she looked at him when he left, about the faith she has in him. He thinks about his father, about the sacrifices that brought him here, about the debt he can never fully repay. His phone buzzes with a text from her. a photo of a finished design, a message that says, "Almost done with my collection. Thinking of you." He types back, "Proud of you. Love you," and tucks his phone back in his pocket. A staff member calls his name, and he follows her into a small room. The chapter then shifts to the feedback meeting, a quiet room with a long table and 2 league officials, their expressions neutral. They review his physical test results, his interview performance, his psychological profile. They tell him that he has impressed them, that his work ethic is exceptional, that his mental toughness is among the best they have seen. They tell him that he has areas to improve, his lateral quickness, his rebound control, his consistency under pressure. They tell him that he is a prospect, that teams are interested, that he has a real chance of being drafted. Fitz listens, his heart pounding, his hands clenched in his lap. When they are finished, he thanks them and walks out of the room, the weight of their words settling into his chest. He is not guaranteed anything, but he is closer. The dream is still alive. The scene shifts to Summer's perspective as she works in her fashion design studio, putting the final touches on her competition collection. The deadline is in 3 days, and she has been working around the clock, sleeping in the studio, surviving on coffee and determination. The pieces are arranged on mannequins, the fabrics rich and varied, the silhouettes bold and elegant. She has named the collection Falling, after the sensation of letting go of control and trusting the descent. She steps back and looks at her work, at the months of effort, at the tears and the breakthroughs. She feels a swell of pride, but also a sense of exhaustion, a longing for the comfort of Fitz's arms. He will be home tomorrow, and she cannot wait to see him. Her phone buzzes with a text from him, a photo of his hotel room, a message that says, "Combine is over. I think it went well. Coming home tomorrow." She types back, "Cannot wait. I love you," and sets her phone aside. She looks at her collection one more time, then packs up her things and heads home. The chapter follows Fitz on the drive home, the highway stretching out before him, the sun setting behind him. He is exhausted, but also relieved, the pressure of the combine finally lifting. He thinks about Summer, about the moment he will see her, about the way she will feel in his arms. He thinks about the draft, about the uncertainty, about the future. He does not know where he will be next year, does not know if he can have both hockey and her, but he knows that he will not give up on either. He presses on the gas, the city lights appearing on the horizon, the miles disappearing behind him. He pulls into her apartment parking lot late that night, and he texts her, "I am here." She opens the door before he can knock, and she jumps into his arms, and he holds her tightly, the days of separation dissolving. He tells her that he missed her, that he thought about her the whole time, that he loves her. She tells him that she missed him too, that she loves him too, that she is so glad he is home. They stand there in the doorway, the cold night air seeping in, the world reduced to the space between them. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz in her apartment, the lights low, the conversation flowing easily. He tells her about the combine, about the feedback, about the possibility of being drafted. She tells him about her collection, about the deadline, about the pride she feels. They talk until the sky begins to lighten, until exhaustion finally overtakes them. They curl up on her couch, a blanket pulled over them, and they fall asleep, tangled together. The chapter ends there, with them holding each other, the combine behind them, the draft ahead, the future uncertain, but the present full of love. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more conversations and more decisions, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 31 opens from Summer's perspective on the morning of her competition deadline, and she is standing in the fashion design studio, surrounded by her finished collection, her heart pounding in her chest. The pieces are packed in garment bags, labeled and ready for shipment to the judging panel. She has checked everything twice, 3 times, and there is nothing left to do but send them off and wait. The waiting is the hardest part, the uncertainty, the fear that she is not good enough, that her work will be dismissed, that her dreams will be deferred. Fitz is beside her, his hand on her back, his presence a steady anchor. He drove her to the studio this morning, insisted on being there for the final moments, refused to let her face this alone. She turns to look at him, at the man who has believed in her from the beginning, and she feels a surge of gratitude so powerful that it almost chokes her. She kisses him, soft and quick, and then she seals the last box and hands it to the courier. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective, as he watches the courier walk away with Summer's collection, the weight of the moment settling over both of them. He knows how much this means to her, knows the hours she has poured into every stitch, every seam, every choice of fabric. He has watched her struggle and doubt and push through, and he has never been prouder of anyone in his life. He puts his arm around her and tells her that she is incredible, that her work is beautiful, that she will win. She leans into him, and they stand in silence, the studio empty around them. He thinks about the draft, about his own waiting, about the phone call that could come any day now. He is terrified, but he is also hopeful, and having her beside him makes everything bearable. He asks if she wants to get coffee, and she nods, and they walk out of the studio together. The scene shifts to the campus coffee shop, where Summer and Fitz sit at their usual table, the drinks growing cold in front of them. She is quiet, her mind elsewhere, and he gives her space, not pushing, just being there. Finally, she speaks. She tells him that she is scared, that she has put everything into this collection, that she does not know what she will do if she fails. He takes her hand and tells her that she will not fail, that she is too talented, too determined, too passionate. He tells her that even if she does not win, she has already succeeded, that she has created something beautiful, that she has grown as an artist and as a person. She looks at him, and the fear in her eyes softens just a little. She thanks him, and they finish their coffee in comfortable silence. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz to his apartment, where they spend the afternoon curled up on the couch, watching old movies, not talking about the competition or the draft or the future. The distraction is welcome, the simple pleasure of being together enough. He makes dinner, a simple pasta, and they eat at the small table by the window, the sunset painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. She tells him that she loves him, and he tells her that he loves her too, and the words feel like a promise, a shield against whatever is coming. After dinner, they lie on his bed, the room dark, the sound of the city drifting through the window. He holds her, and she closes her eyes, and the fear fades. Just a little. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz on the phone late that night, she in her apartment, he in his. The conversation drifts from topic to topic, the way it always does, and the distance feels smaller, the connection stronger. He tells her that he has a good feeling about the competition, that he believes in her, that he will be there no matter what. She tells him that she has a good feeling about the draft, that she believes in him, that she will be there no matter what. They say goodnight, and she lies in her bed, the phone still in her hand, a smile on her face. The chapter ends there, with Summer falling asleep, the competition behind her, the draft ahead, the future uncertain, but the love still strong. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more conversations and more decisions, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 32 opens from Fitz's perspective on the day of the NHL draft, and he is sitting in his apartment, surrounded by his teammates, the television tuned to the draft coverage. The room is crowded, noisy, filled with the energy of anticipation. Dean is on the couch, Logan is in the armchair, and a few other guys from the team are scattered around, beers in hand, jokes on their lips. Fitz is not drinking. He cannot. His stomach is in knots, and his hands are clammy, and he has checked his phone approximately every 30 seconds for the past hour. The draft is underway, names being called, young men's dreams coming true. He has been projected as a mid-round pick, but projections mean nothing. Until he hears his name, nothing is certain. Summer is beside him, her hand in his, her presence the only thing keeping him from falling apart. She has been quiet all day, giving him space, but now she squeezes his fingers, and he looks at her, and she smiles. He tries to smile back, but his face will not cooperate. The chapter then shifts to the draft coverage, the announcers' voices a steady hum in the background. The first round comes and goes, and Fitz's name is not called. He was not expecting it to be, but the waiting is still agonizing. The second round begins, and the tension in the room ratchets up. Dean makes a joke about needing more beer, and someone laughs, but Fitz does not hear them. He is focused on the screen, on the names, on the possibility. The second round ends, and his name is still not called. He feels Summer's hand tighten on his, and he takes a breath, trying to steady himself. The third round begins, and the names keep coming, and Fitz's heart pounds in his chest. And then, it happens. The announcer says his name, Colin Fitzgerald, selected by the Vancouver Canucks in the fourth round. The room erupts. Dean tackles him in a hug, Logan claps him on the back, and the noise is deafening. But Fitz is not aware of any of it. He is looking at Summer, and she is crying, and he is crying, and he pulls her into his arms, holding her tightly. He did it. He made it. The dream is real. The scene shifts to the celebration, a chaotic, joyful affair that spills out of the apartment and into the streets. Fitz is surrounded by teammates, by friends, by people he does not know who want to shake his hand and congratulate him. He is smiling, laughing, accepting hugs and handshakes, but his eyes keep finding Summer. She is across the room talking to Harper, and she looks at him and smiles, and his heart swells. He makes his way toward her, and she meets him halfway, and he pulls her into his arms. She tells him that she is proud of him, that he deserves this, that she loves him. He tells her that he loves her too, that he could not have done this without her, that she is his good luck charm. They kiss, and the noise of the party fades, and the moment is perfect. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz to the roof of his apartment building, away from the noise, the stars bright overhead. They are sitting on an old bench, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her, and they are watching the city lights below. He tells her that he is scared, that he is moving to Vancouver, that the distance is going to be even harder than before. She tells him that she is scared too, that she does not know how they will make it work, but that she is willing to try. He asks if she will come with him, not forever, but for the summer, to help him get settled, to see the city, to be together. She is quiet for a long moment, and then she says yes. She tells him that she can work remotely, that her competition results will not come for weeks, that she wants to be with him. He pulls her closer, and they sit in silence. The future still uncertain, but the present full of love. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz in his apartment, the party over, the guests gone, the two of them alone. They are lying on his bed, tangled together, the exhaustion of the day finally catching up with them. He tells her that he cannot believe it happened, that he cannot believe he is going to play in the NHL. She tells him that she can believe it, that she always believed in him, that he is the most determined person she knows. He kisses her, soft and slow, and the fear fades just a little. The chapter ends there, with them falling asleep, the draft behind them, Vancouver ahead, the future uncertain but the love still strong. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there with the promise of more adventures and more challenges, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is deepening, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 33 opens from Summer's perspective a week after the draft, and she is in her apartment, surrounded by half-packed boxes, the reality of her upcoming move to Vancouver settling over her like a heavy blanket. She has agreed to go with Fitz for the summer, to help him get settled, to see the city, to be together. But now that the decision is made, she is second-guessing everything. Her competition results have not come yet, and she is terrified that they will arrive while she is away, that she will miss some important deadline, that her career will suffer because she chose love over ambition. Harper is sitting on the bed, watching her struggle to fold a sweater, and she asks if Summer is sure about this. Summer says that she is not sure, that she is terrified, that she does not know if she is making the right choice. Harper tells her that there is no right choice, only the choice she makes, and that she will figure out the rest as she goes. Summer nods, but the knot in her chest does not loosen. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective, as he packs his own bags in his apartment, his movements efficient, his mind elsewhere. He has been offered a contract with the Canucks, a 3-year entry-level deal that will pay him more money than he has ever dreamed of. His father is proud, his teammates are happy for him, and he should be ecstatic. But the fear is still there, a low hum beneath the surface. He's moving to a new city, a new country, a new life. He will be thousands of miles away from Summer, from his father, from everything he has ever known. He thinks about her, about the way she looked at him when she agreed to come for the summer, about the fear in her eyes that she is trying to hide. He wants to protect her, wants to make this easy for her, but he does not know how. His phone buzzes with a text from her, a photo of her half-packed bag, a message that says, "This is really happening." He types back, "It is." "You ready?" She responds, not even a little. He smiles, and the knot in his chest loosens, just a little. The scene shifts to Summer and Fitz at the airport, their bags checked, their boarding passes in hand. The terminal is crowded, travelers rushing past, and they stand in a corner, away from the noise, holding hands. She is nervous, her palms sweaty, her heart pounding. He is nervous too, she can tell, but he is trying to hide it. He tells her that he loves her, that he is glad she is coming with him, that he does not want to do this alone. She tells him that she loves him too, that she is scared, but she is willing, that she will be there for him no matter what. He kisses her, soft and slow, and the noise of the terminal fades. Their flight is called, and they walk toward the gate, hand in hand. the future stretching out before them. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz through the flight, the hours passing slowly, the landscape shifting beneath them. She watches the cities shrink and the mountains grow, the world becoming something new. She thinks about her parents, about the conversation she had with them before she left, about her mother's cold disapproval and her father's reluctant acceptance. She thinks about her competition, about the designs she left behind, about the uncertainty of her own future. She thinks about Fitz, about the man beside her, about the love that has changed everything. He reaches over and takes her hand, and she leans her head on his shoulder, and they sit in silence, the plane carrying them toward their new life. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz landing in Vancouver, the city sprawling beneath them, the ocean glinting in the distance. They collect their bags and take a car to his new apartment, a small but modern space that the team arranged for him. The rooms are bare, the walls white, the furniture minimal. But it is theirs for the summer, and that is enough. She walks to the window and looks out at the city, the mountains in the distance, the water below. He comes up behind her and wraps his arms around her, and they stand there, looking out at the world they are about to build together. The chapter ends there, with them in Vancouver, the draft behind them, the summer ahead, the future uncertain, but the love still strong. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of new adventures and new challenges, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is turning to winter, and so are they. The chapter ends there. Chapter 34 opens from Summer's perspective 2 months into their Vancouver adventure, and she is standing in front of the window of Fitz's apartment, the city sprawled below her, the mountains in the distance, the ocean glittering under the afternoon sun. She has been here for 8 weeks, and the city that once felt foreign now feels almost like home. She has found a temporary job at a small design studio, has made a few friends, has learned to navigate the transit system without getting lost. But the summer is ending, and she has to make a decision. Stay or go. Her competition results came last week, and she placed second, not first, but high enough that she has been offered an internship with a prestigious fashion house in New York. It is the opportunity of a lifetime, the chance to launch her career, to prove herself, to become the designer she has always wanted to be. But it would mean leaving Fitz, leaving Vancouver, leaving the life they are building. She has not told him about the offer yet, has been carrying the weight of it alone, afraid of what he will say, afraid of what it will mean for them. Her phone buzzes with a text from him, a photo of the rink, a message that says, "Practice is almost over. See you soon?" She types back, "Cannot wait," and sets her phone aside, the weight of the secret pressing down on her chest. The chapter then shifts to Fitz's perspective as he drives home from practice. The city lights reflecting off the wet streets, his mind on Summer. He has noticed that she has been quiet lately, distracted, as if something is bothering her. He has asked her what is wrong, and she has said nothing, that she is fine, that he is imagining things. He is not imagining things. He knows her well enough now to recognize when she is hiding something. He thinks about the summer, about the months they have spent together, about the way she has become a part of his life. He cannot imagine Vancouver without her, cannot imagine coming home to an empty apartment, cannot imagine facing the season alone. He knows that she has dreams of her own, that she cannot stay here forever, that she has to build her own career. But the thought of losing her is unbearable. He parks the car and sits for a moment, the engine ticking, the silence heavy. Then he gets out and walks inside. The scene shifts to the apartment, where Summer is sitting on the couch, her laptop open in front of her, the email from the fashion house still on the screen. She has been staring at it for an hour, reading and rereading the words, hoping they will change. They do not. The offer is real, and the deadline to respond is tomorrow. She hears the door open, and she closes the laptop quickly, not ready to have the conversation. Fitz walks in, his hair damp, his gear bag slung over his shoulder, and he looks at her, and she can see the question in his eyes. He asks if she is okay, and she says that she is just tired. He does not believe her, but he does not push. He drops his bag and sits beside her on the couch, and they sit in silence, the weight of the unspoken pressing down on both of them. The chapter follows Summer and Fitz through the evening. A quiet dinner, a movie they do not watch, a conversation that goes nowhere. The tension is thick, and neither of them knows how to break it. Finally, as they are getting ready for bed, Summer speaks. She tells him about the offer, about New York, about the internship. She tells him that she has been afraid to tell him, afraid that he will be angry, afraid that he will ask her to stay. Fitz listens, his expression unreadable, and when she finishes, he is quiet for a long moment. Then he tells her that he is not angry, that he is proud of her, that he would never ask her to give up her dreams. He tells her that he loves her, that he wants her to be happy, that he will support whatever she decides. Summer feels tears prick at her eyes, and she pulls him into a hug, holding him tightly. She tells him that she loves him too, that she does not know what to do, that she is terrified of losing him. He tells her that she will not lose him, that they will figure it out, that they have survived distance before. They hold each other, the future uncertain, the love still strong. The chapter closes with Summer and Fitz lying in bed, the room dark, the city quiet outside. They have made a decision, not a final one, but a plan. She will go to New York for the internship, which lasts 6 months. He will stay in Vancouver for the hockey season. They will visit each other when they can, will call every night, will not let the distance destroy them. She is scared, but she is also excited, and having a plan makes the fear manageable. He kisses her forehead and tells her that he loves her, that he believes in her, that he will be waiting for her. She closes her eyes and listens to his heartbeat, steady and strong. The chapter ends there with them falling asleep, the decision made, the future still uncertain, but the love still the anchor. The chase is over, but the journey is just beginning. The story of the chase continues, and the best is yet to come. The chapter ends there, with the promise of more phone calls and more visits, with the hope of a future together, with the love that is growing stronger every day. The fall is turning to winter, and so are they. The chapter ends there. The conclusion of the chase brings the story of Summer Hayward and Colin Fitzgerald to a close, not with a tidy fairy tale ending, but with the hard-earned, deeply satisfying resolution that fans of Elle Kennedy have come to expect. The narrative picks up 6 months after Summer left for New York, jumping between Vancouver and the East Coast, showing the separate lives they have built and the thread of love that still connects them. Fitz has had a successful first season with the Canucks, exceeding expectations, earning the respect of his teammates and coaches. He is no longer the uncertain rookie who arrived in Vancouver with nothing but a dream. He has proven himself, has found his place, has become a man who belongs, but the success feels hollow without Summer. He has dated no one else, has not even considered it, has spent his nights on the phone with her, counting the days until her internship ends. His apartment, once a symbol of new beginnings, has become a reminder of her absence. He has kept her photo on the nightstand, her sketch of him in gold on the fridge, her sweatshirt on the chair where she used to sit. He is ready for her to come home, but he is not sure if she will. The conclusion then shifts to Summer's perspective as she walks through the streets of New York, the city that has been her home for half a year. The internship has been everything she hoped for and more. She has learned from talented designers, has worked on collections that will appear on runways, has made connections that will shape her career. The fashion house has offered her a permanent position, a chance to stay in New York, to build her life there. It is everything she dreamed of, and she should be ecstatic. But the city feels empty without Fitz. She has missed him every single day, has ached for him in ways she did not know were possible, has wondered if the distance is worth the sacrifice. She has turned down dates, ignored advances, spent her nights on the phone with him, counting the days until she can see him again. The permanent offer is sitting on her desk, unsigned, the deadline looming. She has to make a decision, and she does not know which way to turn. The central emotional pivot of the conclusion comes when Fitz flies to New York for a surprise visit, unable to wait any longer, needing to see her, to talk to her, to figure out their future. He shows up at her apartment door unannounced, and when she opens it, she does not speak. She just pulls him inside and holds him, and they stand there for a long moment, the months of separation dissolving. They talk for hours, late into the night, about the internship, about the season, about the offers, about the fear that has been holding them back. He tells her that he does not want to do this anymore, that he cannot survive another 6 months of phone calls and weekend visits, that he needs her. She tells him that she does not want to do it anymore either, that she has been offered a permanent position, that she has been too scared to tell him. He asks her what she wants, and she says that she wants him, that she wants to come home, that New York is not home without him. He tells her that he will support whatever she decides, that he will wait for her, that he loves her. She tells him that she loves him too, that she has made her decision, that she is coming back to Vancouver. The conclusion then shifts to a series of vignettes that show the resolution of the other threads in the story. Summer turns down the permanent offer in New York, accepting instead a freelance position that allows her to work remotely while building her own brand. She moves back to Vancouver, into Fitz's apartment, and they begin the work of building a life together, not a perfect life, but a real one. Her parents, while still not fully accepting of her choices, have softened, recognizing that she is an adult capable of making her own decisions. Her mother sends a carefully worded email, not an apology, but an acknowledgement, and Summer takes it as the olive branch it is. Fitz's father comes to visit, sees the life they have built, and tells Fitz that he is proud of him, that his mother would be proud too. The hockey season ends, and Fitz has a successful playoff run, not a championship, but a deep run that proves he belongs. Summer is in the stands for every home game, wearing his jersey, cheering him on, the way she always has. The conclusion closes with a final scene, set a year later, in the apartment that is now unmistakably theirs. The walls are covered with Summer's sketches, the fridge is covered with magnets from their travels, the couch is worn from use. Fitz is in the kitchen making dinner, and Summer is at the table, working on a new design, one that she hopes will be the centerpiece of her first independent collection. They are not married, not engaged, not even officially living together in the eyes of the law, but they are committed in the ways that matter, in the ways that have been tested and proven. He looks up from the stove and catches her eye, and she smiles, and he smiles, and the moment is ordinary and perfect. They do not know what the future holds, do not know where his career will take them, do not know if her designs will ever make it to a runway, but they know that they will face it together, the way they have faced everything, with honesty and courage, and a love that has grown stronger through every challenge. The conclusion ends with Summer setting down her pencil, walking over to Fitz, and kissing him, soft and slow. The story of the chase is over, but the story of their life together is just beginning. The final line of the book reads, "She was never running away from him. She was running toward herself, and he was right there, waiting, the whole time." The chase, it turns out, was never about catching each other. It was about learning to stop running. The book ends there, with the two of them in the kitchen, the sun setting over Vancouver, the future wide open, the love still burning bright. The end.